Listen carefully.
What do you think?
Coming to you live from Stuart, Florida, the greatest little town in the world, it's the award-winning, critically acclaimed Get Up and Go show on AM 1450 WSTU. You're invited to call the show anytime at 772-220-9788. And now, broadcasting live from the Palatial Studios, here are your hosts, Evan and Bonnie.
And the top of the Thursday morning to you and yours.
Now, somebody's not telling the truth here.
I'm telling the truth.
You're getting dangerously close to being unfriended.
Unfriended? You better not unfriend me, that's for darn sure.
I'm done with you. I never want to speak to you again.
That's fine. Okay, you don't want to speak to me again. That's perfectly fine. I won't hold that against you. Time now is officially 6:07. Mr. Clock, would you please?
It's now 6:07 a.m.
6:07 a.m. I got all sorts of sound effects going off on my my thingamajig here, and this is like my computer's going nuts.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you're getting a lot of notifications this morning, Evan.
Yeah.
Like new things coming in, possibly some emails, any text included.
I don't know why this is happening. This is crazy.
I think there's like a genie in your computer. Every time I hear the broom,
Yeah.
it sounds like a genie coming out of the bottle and, making that sort of magical noise.
Yeah.
Broom.
I just turned this whole thing off. All right, very good. So
You're
now
like a
it's not
genie in
doing
the
anymore.
bottle. You're here. You're here this morning. And
Yeah.
you're wearing the perfect color for the month of October.
I chose to wear this purposely this morning. I just did.
And I'm ashamed to say I'm not even sure I have that color in my closet even anymore.
Really?
Oh, that one polka dot shirt that I do wear that I thought looked pink, but you said it was more of a gray. I
Mhm.
guess that's the closest thing to a pink shirt that I have.
Oh.
I'm like colorblind because if there's a subtle pink, I'm getting it mixed up with what guys or some girls are seeing as gray. But that one right there completely looks bright pink to me.
It is. Matches my underdrawers. No.
Does it really?
Kidding.
We needed to know that
I'm just
information. It's very
teasing.
nice to know.
Hey, so I enjoyed going in your bedroom yesterday with you.
Oh, that wasn't. And you'd met a Jack Frosty.
I did. We
I'm-
had a little party going on there. Jack Frosty. I met Jack Frosty. I met Hansi and the whole family there.
Yeah, Evan moved a desk for me. Thank you so much too for bringing that
It was a
over.
lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
It wasn't bad, you
No.
know. It was kind of like with bits and pieces, some heavy pieces in the desk,
We
but
made it happen.
we did. Even the awkward part with the table, where
Mhm.
we had to bring it in an awkward sort of
Yep,
way.
turn
and-
it up on its side and just kind of shimmy it through the door and shimmy cocoa pop right through the door.
And nothing was broken, nothing was smashed, no
Mhm.
dents in the walls or
Nope.
door frame.
Nope, didn't want to because I didn't want to be responsible for anything broken.
Oh no, and I didn't want to be responsible for anything broken at your house either. But it was a great day to move something. I
Yeah.
thought, didn't you?
Yeah, I got my house painted yesterday too.
And the color was
Gray,
pink.
two-tone.
It's gonna look pink to me.
If I could afford that, yes, I would. But it would no. It's a two-tone. It's a two-tone gray.
I bet it looks really nice. You know, here's how observant I am. Now,
Okay.
when I came to your house yesterday, the house
Right.
had not been painted yet.
Right.
And I'm trying to remember the color that it was. Was it kind of
Brown.
like a rusty orange or
It's a brown.
a brown?
Yes.
A brownish kind
It
of.
was a brown.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
gray's going to look nice. I
It will.
think I see a lot of grays in the area. I like the very dark. Did you get it like a dark gray?
We went with a medium tone gray on the bulk of the house and then a dark gray for the trim.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we need to paint our house. And you might have seen the paint sitting in our kitchen still yesterday.
I didn't notice.
We've been meaning they were in some barrels, but
I
that
just noticed
is
these two big tall pillars in your
also a
living
gray.
room.
Oh,
floor
those
to
pillars.
ceiling.
Yeah.
Those are pretty cool.
Yeah, those cathedral ceilings
Yeah.
are rather nice.
I
and
like that. Ours is like that too. We have cathedral.
Cathedral.
But
I
you see,
like
you
that
have
style.
something that I want. You have ceramic tile throughout your living area, and then you have laminate in the
In-
one bedroom.
Yeah.
And I just love the ceramic tile that was on your floor in the living room, the kitchen area.
Oh,
The
thanks.
I love the backsplash, just all the
Yeah.
decor. I love that kind of stuff. And Rachel and I were talking, if we could do our house over again, we would have went with that type of flooring in our home.
But you know what? I was talking to Gary about it yesterday and telling him how much you like that and
Mhm.
that you do have carpeting.
Yeah.
Gary said I would want to have the carpeting because according to him, now is this true? It's not very expensive to tear out carpeting and replace.
Carpeting is much less expensive to replace than tile floor.
So he was kind of like right on
Oh,
the
he's
mark
right
with
on
that
point. Are
then.
you kidding? We are getting our Rachel's office is getting recarpeted today. Now, to put ceramic tile down in that office
Uh-huh.
is 4 times the amount of money than to carpet that room.
No
They can
kidding.
carpet that room in an hour. They
Huh.
can tile that room in probably 4 or 5 hours. Then they have to come back the next day and do the grout.
Okay.
So it's a 2-day job.
Carpeting is very nice though. It's stylish, but I would
Yes.
guess you would have to I bet you keep Kaya out of away from the room and the carpeting.
No, Kaya has the whole house is carpeted.
is carpeted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she has full reign of the house.
Wow.
So we just have to constantly vacuum.
You're constantly on it. That's
And we're emptying the vacuum like 4 times. After you vacuum, you got to empty and vacuum and empty.
but a dog can't be as hard as my 2 cats are. No, they're messy.
If I showed
messy
you
people.
the amount of hair that we vacuum up in one swoop, you would be like, no way.
Yeah.
I took Kaya outside, brushed her the other day, and there was so much hair that came off of her.
You almost got to brush her every day, don't
Yeah,
you?
pretty much.
And she appreciates it too
Yeah,
when
pretty
all that
much.
hair comes. I got to brush my cats more than I do.
I wanted to just have a casual conversation this morning with you about what we were just talking about off air, if that's okay with you.
Oh yeah, let me see if I got my casual jeans on.
Do you?
Nope,
Casual
I got my
jeans?
flaming red
All right,
pants
very
on.
good. You're
But we
just a
can go
flaming
casual.
red hot person sitting over there.
I don't know.
So yesterday I was watching the trial of Nicholas Cruz, and I watched when he spoke. That's the first time that he's spoken.
I know that's like
Literally.
the first time that I've heard his voice ever.
Yeah. And I don't know why they let him speak. I guess by law they had to let him speak. He wanted to address the families, and it wasn't a prepared statement. It was off the cuff. And I'm not going to say it was from the heart, because that's the last place that he would be speaking from. This is my humble opinion, Bonnie.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I mean,
I'm just
it's
listening. I played it over and over and over
Yeah.
and listened to it, and the crap that he said about just marijuana and this and that, and that he would want the parents or the families to determine his faith and to accept he's sorry, he feels remorseful. And then the judge had to intervene later on and make sure he understood that in a court of law, a jury will determine his faith, and not the uh the victims' families, which he wanted the victims' families to determine his faith, which we all know what they want. They want him put to
yeah.
death.
I can't even imagine what it's like to walk in one of those mom's or dad's shoes. I couldn't even
No.
imagine. I could
They
never
interviewed
imagine.
they interviewed the brother of one of the victims and another dad afterwards, and I watched that, and it's just so gut-wrenching to be in that courtroom when he's in there. I mean, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall for something like that, but I'm just like,
Yeah, yeah.
ugh, I I hope this, and again, this is just my humble opinion. I hope he gets a death penalty. If he does get the death penalty, it's going to be years before they
Before
put him to
it
death.
arises anyway.
Yeah, because there's
Yeah,
so many proceedings that
it's
have to
a
go through,
process, right?
appeals and this and that and the other, and it's
Yeah, look how long Ted Bundy went too
yeah,
with that matter.
yeah,
I mean, years and years until he finally committed the crime here in Florida,
yeah,
which I think we at least do have the death penalty.
yeah,
But he was committed those in California and Utah, and just fleeing, even escaping, and
yeah.
just getting away from it here and there. And finally here in Florida, they got him. But that was a process too, where I think he remained for years, quite a few years on death row.
I assume they would do lethal injection if he does get the death penalty. I don't know if they do the electric chair anymore, but whichever way they do, whichever way they do this to him, I hope that for some reason, and I know this may sound a little morbid, but I hope for some reason that whatever it is fails halfway through
Mm,
and makes him suffer, so he can feel the pain that he put these 17, is it?
yeah, there
17
were.
kids'
Yeah,
families through. That's just, and again, this is just my opinion. It's not Bonnie's opinion. It's just my opinion of tens of thousands of people.
it's still the memory still etched in my mind was
Yeah.
when they caught him, when he was down on the ground
Yeah.
outside that school, and it was like a sunny day, Valentine's Day.
Yeah, they
and
caught him
the sun was out.
somebody's yard, right out
Those
front somebody's house.
Okay, yeah, and the
Yeah.
pictures from when he was down, and
Yeah.
that's still kind of etched in my
Yeah.
memory.
And I'm sure those officers wanted to beat the living holy you know what out of them, but unfortunately They're law officers, they're law enforcement officers. They have to uphold the law.
Yeah,
They have to follow protocol. And I'm sure they wanted to pummel that guy. But
Well, I don't think it does any good for anyone
no,
if they are going to pummel and look
no,
like animals too.
no. Let
you know.
justice
Yeah.
take its
That's
course.
why we have a legal system, man.
Bingo. You hit
Yeah.
the nail right on the head. And I would have done the same if
Yeah.
I was a law enforcement officer and I caught him. I would have followed, done exactly what they did, and let the legal system work its course and go from there.
Reminds me of a Dirty Harry movie I saw not too long ago with Harry Callahan.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, he wanted to get this murder of women. And when he finally did, I think it was like in a football stadium at a high school, he caught him in the bleachers late at night. And he did him in. He was wanting to really do him in because of how terrible this guy had been killing all these ladies and getting away from it.
Gotcha. Freddie Chevalier, that is Mark Hales' alter ego.
Yes.
He signed on as Freddie this morning, said good morning, and then he goes, oops, let me change accounts. And now he's there as Mark Hales and says, good morning from the real me.
I thought he was back to being Mr. Mark Hales.
Yes, he's out of jail, obviously, out of Facebook jail, as they call it. So he's back, and hopefully maybe he'll give us a call a little later so we can get an update on what's happening across the pond. I would love to know.
That would be swell.
I love talking to him whenever he calls the show.
He's really informative.
He is, and he gives us an update on what's happening over across the pond, things pertaining to COVID, how their country's doing over there. So hopefully we will chat with the chap.
Yeah.
Get it? It'll be a chat with the chap is what it's called. 6:20 right now on the Get Up and Go show with Evan and Bonnie. It's time for news first thing this morning. First look at news this morning. Bonnie's at the news desk with the headlines. Good morning, Bonnie.
Good morning to you, Evan. Apparent human remains were discovered Wednesday near a Southwest Florida preserve where items belonging to Gabby Petito's fiance, Brian Laundrie, were found. WPTV's Derek Lowe has the story.
The search for Brian Laundrie has now been ongoing for more than a month. Until today, we have not had a trace of where he might be. It's an area Brian Laundrie's parents say their son frequented often.
Our evidence response team is on scene using all available forensic resources to process the area.
FBI crews continue to search for Brian Laundrie, a person of interest after Gabby Petito's disappearance and killing in Wyoming. Investigators credit a cadaver dog for finding the apparent human remains inside the Myakkahatchee Creek Park in Northport.
Earlier today, investigators found what appears to be human remains, along with personal items, such as a backpack and notebook belonging to Brian Laundrie.
A discovery raising even more questions for experts.
That really raises the question that if indeed this is Brian Laundrie and if he died by his own hand, did he take the time to write out a note of explanation, maybe even regret, something that would give answers not only to the police but to Gabby's family?
The area where the items were found was previously underwater, according to FBI Special Agent Michael McPherson. He says search crews and evidence teams will likely be here for days.
Portions of the Myakkahatchee Creek Environment Park and Carlton Reserve will remain closed to the public until further notice. This is an active and ongoing investigation, so we ask the public to maintain distance from any law enforcement personnel, equipment, vehicles, and other related activity.
And McPherson says that the FBI's Denver office will now take the lead in this investigation. Last month, the coroner ruled that Gabby Petito was strangled. Live in Northport, I'm Derek Lowe, WPTV, News Channel 5.
Nicholas Cruz is pleading guilty to all charges in the 2018 shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High in Parkland. Those charges include 17 counts of murder and 17 counts of attempted murder. Some parents and family members of the Parkland school shooting victims said Wednesday they were unmoved by Nicholas Cruz's apology in court and remain in favor of him being sentenced to death. WPTV's Ryan Hughes has more.
Despite that apology in court today, many families that we spoke with had no sympathy for the man they call evil and violent. They say that his statement that he made in court was calculated and useless. As you mentioned, it was a very emotional day as details of the shooting were read aloud minute by minute. And at times, many of these families relying on one another for sympathy and support. Walking out of the courtroom in Broward County hand in hand.
I miss him dearly. He should be here today.
Tom and Gina Hoyer remembering their son Luke on this emotional and difficult day as they take one step closer to justice.
Baby. And I always used to say, because he was so funny and cute, we would laugh and go, what would we ever do without him? He wasn't planned. And now I have to live those words.
Luke was only 15, walking back to class from the library when he was shot and killed inside Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School.
It was probably the most uncomfortable thing, second most uncomfortable thing we've ever had to do.
Wednesday morning, parents reliving the pain and torture as their child's killer pleaded guilty to murdering 17 people inside the high school. To a picture of his daughter, Gina Rose, close to his heart.
There's no moving on. There's moving around the pain that we feel every day. The loss of our daughter affects myself and our son and our entire family.
And many of the families who have bonded over tragedy sitting next to one another in court, comforting each other as descriptive details were read aloud of how the massacre was carried out. Now, as the focus in this case shifts to the penalty phase, many grieving parents say they hope the jury chooses the right punishment.
And the person you saw in there today chose to take his life, and he does not deserve life in prison. Life in prison is a life, and he deserves nothing more than the death penalty.
And outside that courtroom, many of those families telling me they plan to spend the rest of today visiting their child, their son, their daughter at the cemetery. They have grief into action, and they say they plan to see this case until the very end. As we mentioned, the next step is now the penalty phase, jury selection, slated to begin after the new year. Live this afternoon in Fort Lauderdale, Ryan Hughes, WPTV, News Channel 5.
The Florida Education Association says there have been about 5,000 teacher vacancies this month. Officials believe that low pay and the stress of COVID-19 are pushing some teachers to retire or resign. Pollution in the Indian River Lagoon likely weakens juvenile green sea turtles' immune systems, making them more susceptible to a disease that can leave them with tumors, a new study has found. Florida Atlantic University researchers found a connection between polluted water and diseases such as green turtle fibropapillomatosis, according to their study published Journal of Wildlife Centers. Using data spanning over 2 decades, the team compared blood samples from teenage turtles in the lagoon to tumor-free turtles in the far cleaner Trident Turning Basin near Cape Canaveral. Lagoon turtles' white blood cells, which fend off disease and infection, responded worse to challenges than those of turtles in the Trident Basin, according to the study. In many cases, the disease can grow tumors so large they affect turtles' vision and ability to eat, swim, and escape predators, according to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. And lastly, a guy in Canada bought a lottery ticket in August, but he forgot about it until earlier this month. He found it in his wallet, just sitting in there all this time, checked the numbers, and realized he'd won $20 million. Good thing he took a look and didn't toss it away. The Houston Astros had a big 6-run 6th inning on a Kyle Schwarber error to elevate them to a 9-1 rout over the Boston Red Sox in Game 5 of the ALCS. The Astros lead that series 3-2. They're 1 game away from the World Series and are headed home to Houston on Friday to possibly win the ACLS on Friday. First pitch at 8:08. And in the other league, the Atlanta Braves 9-2 over the Dodgers. The Braves now lead that series 3-1, and Game 5 in LA starts at 8:08 p.m. tonight. News time at 6:28 with weather and traffic together next.
6:28 right now in the Get Up and Go show with Evan and Bonnie. It's the Thursday morning edition. It's time for traffic and weather together. Bonnie's standing out in the middle of the highway right now. No, I'm just kidding. What's going on outside, Bonnie?
Well, it's not very windy out here in the middle of the highway. It's a nice morning, but it's nice traffic-wise too. The conditions are in your favor. If you're heading off to work and you got to be there by 7, you should arrive there on time. Major highways, everything moving up to speed. And there's your latest look at traffic. It's 73 in Port St. Lucie and in Carlingford, Ireland this morning, 46. Here's our weather at WPTV.
Your WPTV First Alert forecast calls for temperatures this morning in the mid to upper 70s towards the coast, still seeing some 60s inland under partly cloudy skies. This afternoon, highs in the mid to upper 80s, partly sunny skies, a few showers possible with breezy winds out of the east at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Tomorrow, a little more humid with highs in the mid 80s, some showers towards the coast in the morning, then afternoon showers and storms possible. For the weekend, a front stalls out over the area, scattered showers and storms possible with warm and muggy conditions, highs in the mid 80s.
I'm WPTV First Alert meteorologist Katya Hall on WSTU AM 1450, Martin County's Heritage Station.
If you have a suggestion for the show, we would love to hear from you. Send us an email to WSTUmorningshow@gmail.com. Now let's get back to the Get Up and Go show. Here's Evan and Bonnie.
6:32 on the Get Up and Go show with Evan and Bonnie. It's time for viral videos. So I have a couple of my computers being so whacked out this morning. I don't know what it's doing, but I think I fixed it. Anyway, I got a couple of viral videos this morning, Bon.
Okay, I got one for you too.
All right, I'll let you ladies first.
Okay.
Be a gentleman here.
Well, how would you like to have 2 burgers rather than 1 burger?
Okay.
So on TikTok right now, there's an account called Healthy Junk Food. They did a video on how you can turn 1 burger at Five Guys, which is really tasty, into 2 burgers for free.
Oh.
So there's a viral video of a regular burger comes with 2 patties. So you just ask for all the toppings on the side. You can order an extra bun. Did not notice this, but when you order an extra bun at one of these fast foods, they're usually free.
Really?
Won't cost you anything.
Oh, wow.
So you can turn that 1 big, huge burger into 2 burgers for yourself.
Okay, then.
And they have it on TikTok, a viral video on how you can do it, and it turns out pretty well.
Very good. Good morning. You're on the radio.
Good morning.
Oh, hey there, Sunshine. What's happening?
Not much.
What's cooking this morning?
Not much. It's my coffee morning, so I'm leaving early enough to get coffee, and I'm going to try to get to work by 7 so I can kind of get everything caught up since I'm leaving work early tomorrow.
Bonnie's holding her plastic
Yeah,
bag.
thank you for the care package. This is a goodie. You're providing coffee for everyone today, Rachel.
What did she give you,
That's
by the
nice.
way? What are the ones that she gave you?
Cinnamon. There's a cinnamon one here.
Okay.
I gave her a Cinnabon, the dark roast, and the McCafe.
Oh, I think I see that Panera one in there, the one I really wanted to taste. Panera bread dark roast.
That Keurig doesn't work out in the lobby area, does it? Then again, it's been sitting there forever. There was a Keurig in the closet.
Oh,
You didn't know that?
in your closet?
No, right here.
Oh, in our closet.
Yeah. There's a Keurig out there.
You know, I bet it works.
I
think
wouldn't put nothing in. It's been sitting there since I've been here.
We'd have to get some vinegar and drain it
Yeah,
through
there could
and
be
clean
something
it.
growing in there.
You never know.
There's an accident.
Oh, all right. Wait a minute. Hold on. If you say something, see something,
Yeah.
give us a report. Tell us about it.
Darwin and PSL Boulevard.
Oh, right there by McDonald's.
Yep, 2 cars.
Okay. What lanes are
Pretty
blocked?
smashed up.
What lanes are blocked?
The ones heading toward Becker.
All right. So the that would be the southbound lanes of Port St. Lucie Boulevard are blocked, Bonnie.
Or the westbound lanes, right?
No, be south. Southbound.
That's
Southbound.
headed
It's
south
going
right
south.
there?
Southbound Port St. Lucie Boulevard, going towards Becker at Darwin.
Police just got on the scene.
Okay.
All right.
What?
And it's pretty bad. It looks like a yellow Mustang. And an SUV.
Wait, did you say yellow Mustang?
The yellow Mustang and an SUV.
Bonnie, did somebody come? You may want to call Gary and see if the Mustang's outside of your house. Bonnie has the yellow Mustang.
The only ones
Oh,
that would
this is a
take...
newer Mustang.
Oh, okay.
Mine's too old then. Yeah, my nephews, I don't think my nephews know where the keys are to mine, but they would be the only ones who would want to take it. So, not mine.
Yeah, the entire passenger side of the Mustang is smashed in.
Ooh.
Oh, yikes. That's not good.
Yeah, not good at all. We hope somebody is okay. We hope everybody's okay. Man.
All right.
So, Evan.
Yes. Oh, boy. Here we go. That was a stern warning.
Last night when I came to bed,
Yeah.
I couldn't sleep.
Let me guess. What was going on?
You were too far on your own side.
Really? This is the first?
And I'm so used to you being so close that I could just put my hand down and touch you. I couldn't even reach out and touch you without having to shift my whole body.
Wow.
Oh, I got some news for you, and I told Evan what you should do. You should take those files that he wants you to have thrown away and just hide them in your closet for a little while until you get around to it.
Thanks, Bonnie. Gee, that was awfully nice.
We heard that he gave you a motive to, just either do this or they're going to be tossed. So instead of, go through them at your leisure, Rachel, just hide them away so he doesn't see them.
Jeez.
Yeah, but you were too far over.
Wow. Okay. Well, maybe I decided to be courteous last night.
You should buy a pole then. Buy a fishing pole so you can reel him back in. In the bed.
I was like,
come a little bit
hold up.
closer.
Yeah.
Like, hold up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So eventually you did finally roll back over toward me, and then I could finally go to sleep because I could reach out and touch you.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, reach
And-
out and touch. Oh, wait, there's an and, Bonnie. There's an and.
And.
All right, go ahead.
Yep.
I just had to order ink again for my printer.
Really? Well, you're just printing too damn much. That's the problem.
Actually, I'm only getting about 1,000 sheets.
Ooh.
I'm not getting the 1,500.
Well, you need to. I'll have to show you how to
How
fix
does
that.
the ink in this printer go so darn long? I finally
Well, she
replaced this
has a
here
different printer at the house.
in Frank's printer. I've used that
I
for
mean-
years.
But since I've gotten it, I've literally had to replace the ink every month.
Yeah, and that's not price. I mean, that is pricey too. It's
It is a little
not
pricey.
cheap, is it?
Yeah, her
It is
ink
a little pricey.
Yeah.
Her ink's a
Considering my
little
last
pricey.
printer worked a lot better.
I'm gonna have to. Oh, thanks for the desk too that Evan brought over yesterday.
She loves
I
the
quite
desk,
like
by
it.
the way.
Yeah, it's going to be put to good use. It's there's a need for it right now.
Yeah, the cat's already taken it over.
Yeah. Hansi thinks he's gonna like sit right on top of it and sun because it's right in the window with the sunshine coming in. So it's a perfect place for Hansi for now until the laptop goes there. So
there you go.
Gotcha.
All right, we got to run because we have things to do.
Okay.
So have a wonderful day.
Love you.
Thank
Love you
you
too.
for the
See you later.
coffee once again. Thank you so much, Rachel. That was nice.
You're welcome.
Okay.
All right. My computer is acting so screwy right now. I'm like, what is going on? I'm like miffed. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay.
No, because I don't want things to crash on me. And it's like, all right, what's going on here? So sorry about that, folks.
But anyway, did you like that idea, Evan, about turning that one burger into 2 burger patties at Five Guys?
Yeah.
And so obviously, when you do that, you're going to end up with 2 single cheeseburgers instead of a double. But their burgers are too big for a lot of people anyway. So even
Really?
just one patty makes for a pretty big meal. It's
Okay.
been a long time since I've enjoyed that burger at Five Guys.
Oh,
And they are pretty big and juicy and pretty incredible.
Five Guys is pretty good.
But I guess you can do that at McDonald's too. Like you could probably, take a Big Mac seriously and just ask for an extra bun, which you should get an extra bun for free, and take one of those 2 all beef American patties.
Special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
Yep. Save the condiments that are inside. Save a little condiment on the side and just make it into 2 beef patties.
You know how that works.
Yep. Do you think 2 are better than 1?
I don't know.
I think it depends for me which one is the most delicious and better tasting.
Definitely so. I am so sorry that I am like completely all just mumble jumble here.
Well, you're looking for that too. There's something really gross in Bud Light news.
Oh, just what I wanted to
for
hear.
those drinking Bud Light this morning.
Okay.
they're selling a new eggnog flavored hard seltzer for the holidays.
Ah, okay.
Oh, have you tried any of those hard seltzers? Some are pretty
I don't
good.
drink. I really don't drink.
Some
so
is good, like if it's like a strawberry hard seltzer or something. But think of an eggnog flavored hard seltzer. But it's part of a new variety 12-pack called the Ugly Sweater Pack.
Gotcha.
They did that last year. 3
Gotcha.
of the 4 flavors are new. The seltzer nog, they have sugar plum, which doesn't sound bad. Cherry cordial, that doesn't sound bad either. In fact, I like the cherry wheat beer that Samuel Adams comes out with annually.
I found 2 viral videos. I found the audio from them. This is going to go back a couple of years, but they're just rehashing all over again.
Oh yeah, sometimes they make a comeback.
Yeah, and one is from Dr. Phil.
Okay.
Dr. Phil had this 13-year-old girl back on her show back in the day her name was Danielle Bergoli.
Oh, she was a firecracker, wasn't she?
Yeah, here,
she
just
had her
listen.
15 minutes
What do you
of fame.
think is going to happen when you happen to steal somebody's car that decides that they're going to drop a hammer on you and prosecute you to the full extent of the
Then
law?
I do my time in jail. Jail ain't nothing. That's what I always do, and they never catch me. Ain't nobody gonna catch me.
Because you're too streetwise?
Yup. And all these hoes laughing like something funny.
She's talking about the audience, that they're laughing at her.
Did you say the hoes are laughing?
Yep.
So the audience are a bunch of hoes?
Yep. Catch me outside. How about that?
Huh?
Catch me outside. How about that?
Catch you outside?
Catch her outside, and she'll go outside and do what she has to do.
Her interpreter's
this
with
is
her.
mouth.
It's her mother.
Yeah.
So you want to take this outside? Because I think they can bring cameras outside.
Really? Because I think I flipped you.
You want to do it again?
Danny, don't get all tough. Please don't. This is not the place,
Hey,
and this is not
sit
the time.
down.
Sit down.
All right, then.
Sit down.
Flip me now. Come flip me now.
That girl needs an attitude.
Well, with Little
adjustment.
Miss attitude like that,
Yeah.
unfortunately,
Little Miss
I
thing.
love technology in this day and age, but it's incredible due to that time she had on Dr. Phil
Yeah.
and getting so popular for being a potty mouth and
Yeah.
terrible teenager.
Yeah. Now she's making millions.
She made money
Yeah.
with the video thing
Yeah.
and followers.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know what she's doing now. I haven't seen or heard or had an update on this
Mhm.
young gal lately.
It's ridiculous.
I think Dr. Phil wanted to send her off to the farm too, right?
The funny farm.
Doesn't he have a farm where he sends people to
Oh, yeah.
up in Tennessee? He's
Oh,
got
yeah.
a good friend, and it's a recruit. They reform people.
Yeah.
And I think he had wanted to send her there.
Yeah.
I think they work with horses, which is sounds like a good program. I mean, working with horses, probably would change your mindset and calm you down a little bit.
Yeah, I would say so. I have one more from Oprah Winfrey.
Ah,
Now,
yeah.
everybody loves Oprah, okay? Everybody absolutely adores Oprah. So let's listen in.
Listen carefully. Inside one of these boxes is a key. Do not open it yet. If your box has a key, you will be the last person today to get one of those cute little G6s. Okay? Who will it be? Are you ready? Hold on. Are you ready? Cue the drum roll. All right, open your boxes. Open your boxes. 1, 2, 3.
I remember that episode.
Yeah.
You get a car. You get a car. Everybody gets a car. And then all the cars were outside in the parking lot.
Imagine the feeling it would be to be in that audience on that day, and just the excitement at first that you could be one of those people winning the car, and only for her to say that everybody's getting a car.
Yeah.
And that excited feeling you had to be feeling that day.
That was like, yeah, that was.
I would have loved to, love to be in that audience.
Man,
I would love to be in Oprah's situation to be able to give away a car to
Really?
everyone.
Wow.
To be that wealthy. Oh,
Yeah, that definitely so. Anyway, let me maximize this. There we go. Okay. So anyway, it is let's see, it's 6:46. Which means it's time for news once again. It's all brought to you by St. Lucie Jewelry and Coin. For the best deals in town on precious metals, it's always St. Lucie Jewelry and Coin. Bonnie standing by with the headlines. Good morning, Bonnie.
Good morning, Evan. The FBI says the search for Brian Laundrie, the missing fiance of the late Gabby Petito, has turned up human remains in a nature park in Sarasota County. Special Agent Michael McPherson says they'll be investigating the area for the next several days.
Our evidence response team is on scene using all available forensic resources to process the area.
Laundrie is the sole person of interest in the murder of Gabby Petito, whose body was found in Wyoming just over a month ago. Nicholas Cruz is pleading guilty to all charges in the 2018 shooting death at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High in Parkland. Those charges include 17 counts of murder and 17 counts of attempted murder. Florida's governor has called on the Justice Department to stand down as federal officials offer to help with threats made against school workers over masking policies. WPTV's Capitol reporter Forrest Saunders with more.
I'm Forrest Saunders at the Capitol. We don't need your help. Governor Ron DeSantis calling on the Justice Department to stand down. That's as federal officials offer to help with threats made against school board members and others over masking policies. Florida's governor Wednesday rejecting federal help to police recent threats against superintendents, board members, and others backing COVID safety guidelines.
We don't need federal agents coming in to do this.
DeSantis saying Florida law enforcement can handle it, then labeling the Justice Department's aid as an effort to intimidate parents.
Is to squelch dissent, is to have them shut up and just take it, even when they strongly disagree with what may be happening with their kid.
His comments follow this October 4 memo from U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland. In it, Garland says there's been a disturbing spike in harassment, intimidation, and threats of violence against school workers. He lists a series of efforts to help, including the creation of a task force to aid criminal prosecution. But DeSantis saying the state won't be participating in anything outlined in that memo and bringing along anti-mask parents to back resistance.
Now we're being looked at as domestic terrorists, and I find it utterly disgusting.
Meanwhile, school workers have started opening up about the threats.
I don't reject people coming here and speaking their voice.
Brevard board member Jennifer Jenkins telling her colleagues about her experiences last week. Jenkins dealing with stalkers, the brandishing of weapons outside her home, even false abuse claims about her daughter.
That I have to take a DCF investigator to her play date to go underneath her clothing and check for burn marks. That's what I'm against, which is a credible threat.
The Justice Department didn't immediately offer a response to the governor's comments, but in the memo promised to act within 30 days, a window quickly disappearing without much outward action to date. And Governor DeSantis is far to criticize that memo. A lot of Republicans have stacked up against it, including Florida's two senators, Rick Scott and Marco Rubio. That's the latest.
A 64-year-old man on a bicycle died after being struck by a vehicle on North 25th Street, a police sergeant said Wednesday. The crash happened September 23 as a pickup southbound on North 25th Street struck the bicyclist about 150 feet north of Avenue D, according to a report in Sergeant Charles Donnan of the Fort Pierce Police. Donnan said it appears the bicycle rider, a Fort Pierce man, wasn't in a crosswalk and was in the southbound travel lane. He said he was at fault. The driver of the pickup, a 47-year-old man from St. Lucie County, stopped, rendered aid, and called 911. Donald said the bicycle rider died 3 days after the crash. The name of the bicycle rider was not immediately available. The moon rose full Wednesday, buoying swollen, known to ooze slow motion into waterside streets and parks, but maybe not this year. The National Weather Service in Miami is forecasting with October's full moon, but not the cold so frequently accompanied fall's lunar influenced king tides. While two new moons and September's full harvest moon have come and gone since meteorological fall began, the minor flood threshold has not been crossed at the official National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's official gauge at Virginia Key near Miami. That doesn't mean the most vulnerable areas haven't watched brackish intercoastal waters puddle into streets on sunny days. Sidewalk soaking, car stalling events that have characterized years past have generally not materialized. And lastly, former President Bill Clinton is sending thanks to the doctors who cared for him and those who sent well wishes while he was hospitalized in California. In a video statement, Clinton, age 75, said he is glad to finally be back at home in New York. I'm doing great, enjoying this beautiful fall weather, he said. Clinton received treatment for nearly a week at UC Irvine Medical Center for a reported neurological infection. Former Washington State coach Nick Rolovich will be suing the university for illegal termination, in part because of discriminatory and vindictive behavior by athletic director Pat Shun, an attorney represented Rolovich said on Wednesday. Washington State fired Rolovich and 4 other assistant coaches Monday night after they refused to comply with a mandate that required all state employees to be vaccinated against COVID-19. Our news time at 6:52, and we'll have weather and traffic together next.
.653 right now on the Get Up and Go show with Evan and Bonnie. It's a Thursday morning edition. It's time for traffic and weather together. Here's Bonnie with a look outside.
Well, Evan, nothing to report, and that's always a good thing when it does come to traffic. We're not finding any accidents on our roadways through Stewart, Port St. Lucie. Everything fine there and moving right along this morning. If you see something, say something. Give us a call at 220-9788 at 220-WSTU. Port St. Lucie, we have 73 right now, and in Shelburne, Vermont, 52. Here's more in the forecast at WPTV.
Your WPTV First Alert forecast calls for temperatures this morning in the mid to upper 70s towards the coast, still seeing some 60s inland under partly cloudy skies. This afternoon, highs in the mid to upper 80s, partly sunny skies, a few showers possible with breezy winds out of the east at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Tomorrow, a little more humid with highs in the mid 80s, some showers towards the coast in the morning, then afternoon showers and storms possible. For the weekend, a front stalls out over the area, scattered showers and storms possible with warm and muggy conditions, highs in the mid 80s.
I'm WPTV First Alert Meteorologist Katya Hall on WSTU AM 1450, Martin County's Heritage Station.
Do you have a suggestion for the show? Send us an email, WSTUmorningshow@gmail.com. And now let's get back to the Get Up and Go show. Here's Evan and Bonnie.
New from Nabisco and Lunesta. S'mores for snores. If you're living with someone who sounds like a crazed elephant mating with a freight train when they sleep, finally there's help. It's a combination of chocolate, marshmallow, and graham crackers. Only each item is laced with something to help you sleep. Chocolate infused with L-tryptophan, marshmallows and Ambien, and graham crackers with fentanyl. Your loved one can snore until the shingles, because you'll be practically comatose. S'mores for snores. Just one bite and say goodnight.
Yeah, just one bite and say goodnight. S'mores for snores.
You know, the fentanyl, just give me the chocolate and the marshmallow,
Yeah.
maybe the graham cracker included. Sounds like sweet dreams.
Definitely so.
Minus the fentanyl.
Yeah. I have to say good morning to some very, very dear friends of mine, Colleen and Frank. They just texted me. They've got us on the radio. They're on the way to the airport for vacation.
Really? Do you know
So
where they're
I'm
going?
jelly. I
Where-
think they're going to a log cabin or something like that. I'm not really sure.
Oh, perfect.
But they're on their way to vacation.
Maybe maybe up north to see some fall foliage
Yeah,
somewhere.
I hope so. They're very dear friends of mine, both personal and in the business world. They have an awesome company called Eclipse Videography.
Oh, nice.
Shameless plug. So if anybody needs any videos done for any kind of events, look them up. Eclipse Videography.
Well, all right, Colleen and Frank.
Yes.
Have a nice vacation.
Yes, I'm sure they'll have a great time wherever the heck they're going.
Oh, yeah.
Frank
yeah.
is also a DJ as well.
He is now.
Yes, he's a DJ. He's one of the old school guys from way back in the day.
Oh, yeah. Does he
Yeah.
spin the records still and the old vinyls? and
I don't know if he has any
turntables
vinyl or
in
not.
the
I'm not
closet,
sure.
maybe?
I'm not sure. You never know. He gets in the closet every now and then and
Reel,
does
reel
his
to
thing.
reel.
Yeah,
A
reel
reel to reel
to reel,
machine.
slice and dice.
Yes.
Hey, listen, we got to step back for a moment, take a short pause for the cause. We're WSTU Stewart, Martin County's Heritage Station. The news is coming up next in hour number 2 of the Get Up and Go show.
Coming to you live from Stuart, Florida, the greatest little town in the world, it's the award-winning, critically acclaimed Get Up and Go show on AM 1450 WSTU. You're invited to call the show anytime at 772-220-9788. And now, broadcasting live from their palatial studios, here are your hosts, Evan and Bonnie.
Thank you very much, Madam Announcer. It is October 21st, 2021.
Here he is for the year 2020, people's sexiest man alive.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fallon. I appreciate that.
You seem happy this morning.
I am very happy.
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
I'm glad you're jacked up on Mountain Dew because I'm just jacked up on life. It's 7:07 this morning. Mr. Clock, would you please certify that?
It's now 7:07 a.m.
7:07 on the Get Up and Go show with Evan and Bonnie, and I'm having problems. Here we go. That's press. So whoever's on the phone, hold on for just a minute. I just have to do this first.
News on the radio. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Quickly, we'll get to birthdays and anniversaries and back in the day. Bonnie, I'll start with you first.
Oh,
what do you got?
Happy
I always
birthday.
go to you first.
Happy
You should
birthday
know that.
if you're celebrating, and maybe get jacked up on Mountain Dew this morning.
Yeah, get jacked up on Mountain Dew. Anybody you want to wish a happy birthday to?
Well, since we're getting so much closer to Halloween, maybe if it is your birthday, enjoy a voodoo.
A voodoo.
Vodka and Mountain Dew.
Oh.
Oh.
I like that. Oh.
Oh, 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 oh. Happy
Okay.
birthday if you're celebrating.
All right, very good. I have to wish a happy birthday to a good friend of mine that is just around the corner from me, the one and only Sandra Ledford. Good friend of mine, wife of Deputy John Ledford. She is 40 years old today. Happy birthday, Sandra.
Is she like your neighbor or something, Evan?
She's my neighbor. Won't
Oh.
you be my neighbor?
Happy birthday, Sandy.
That's right. Happy birthday,
Nice.
Sandra. There we go. I recorded it so I can send it to her.
Oh, good.
Now I
That's
can answer
really
the phone.
personalized.
Yeah, I have to do that, you know. Hi, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, it's not my birthday, but happy birthday to me for just phoning in.
Wait a minute. Is this Mr. Hales or Mr. Chevalier calling in this morning?
Yeah, which one are you?
Chevalier. I keep telling you, Chevalier. It's Mr. Hales today.
Okay, so you turned into Mr. Hales. Now, why is that? Why aren't you Mr. Chevalier anymore?
Because I'm out of Facebook jail. So that account goes dormant until such a time that they jail me again for speaking my mind and behaving like a child. And then I'll go back to that account.
so
And gradually
funny.
I'm building up the clientele so they know who I am.
Are you over there in England speaking your mind still? Do you still speak your mind?
Always speaking my mind. Oh, yeah, I always speak my mind. It just depends who I speak it to, whether it gets me into trouble or not. I mutter a lot under my breath, and I seem to get away with that one. But as soon as someone's within earshot, it's trouble.
Wow. So I want to know what was your bail set at to get out of Facebook jail?
X. We just say X.
X. Okay. I like that. X. His bail was X. So what's going on over across the pond these days?
Well, the autumn is here. The weather is changing in the southeast of England, so it's now getting colder and wetter. Proper English weather now. So we can forget all of the weather reports out of Florida. It's depressing. When it comes to COVID, the only thing that's changing about the COVID is because the winter is coming, because people are getting together now indoors, closing the doors, closing the windows. Yeah. Apparently, the infection rate is going up. Now, the government is, and they're expecting a fourth wave. So the government is actually is standing back at the moment and not changing anything. They don't want to change anything. I think the idea is the amount of people that have had 2 jabs, they've started the booster rollout, etc., and they're also on a big flu jab kick that they really don't want to sort of say to people, sorry, we've got to lock you all indoors again, you can't do this, you can't do that. However, the health authorities are asking the government to implement what they call Plan B, and back to mandatory wearing of face masks, passports, a COVID vaccination passports, blah, blah, blah. And I think the UK population in general is pretty much had enough of it, nearly 2 years. And I think the government knows that, and they're really holding back. But I suspect that at some point, probably in November, to protect Christmas, because they totally ruined Christmas for everyone last year. I think they will probably make it a very strong recommendation that you wear masks in supermarkets, on public transport, and etc. And they may possibly say, for nightclubs and close gatherings, etc., there's got to be some form of control. But the government are resisting it. But outside influences are recommending that the government do that. So, I'm a grown man. I'm on the fence with this one. I do know that we have to take precautions, but we are all grown-ups, and we can do what's right and what we know is right. I personally, if I felt that, it would help the others around me, I would wear a mask in supermarkets, public transport, etc. But at the moment, I'm not doing it.
Are cases
I'm quite
down?
happy.
Are cases
Sorry?
down over there, Mark? Are they down? Or are
The
they...
cases are on the rise again, and that is the problem. They're claiming 100,000 reported infections per day. Now, when you take into account the population of the whole of the United Kingdom is around 70 million, those numbers, they don't make a lot of sense to me. That in a very short space of time, with those numbers, on a daily basis, you'd expect the whole of the UK to be infected again. But I don't know. I don't listen to media anymore regarding this, because it's just the facts, figures, and numbers that never make sense, and it's all scare tactics. And the idea is to, I think part of it is to make people do the right thing off their own back, but part of it is also sensationalist reporting. And I would say, in some respects, and don't quote me on this, bad journalism.
Okay. All right. Very good. Otherwise, how's the family? Everybody's well over there?
No. My youngest daughter had, it's a seasonal cold, common cold, but it lasted 3 weeks with severe sinus pain, etc. I've had it quite mild, and my wife is just getting over it. So out of the 4 of us in the family, we've all had seasonal colds, which, of course, because we've been protected for the best part of 18 months, no one has really suffered with the common cold as such. So it seems to have come back with vengeance this time.
What I want to know...
it's not the end of the world, it's just a seasonal thing. But of course, we've all been so used to not having the common cold for 18 months that when it did hit everyone, bang. Sorry, Bonnie?
Holy man. What I want to know, with the cold weather coming in over there, does your wife have a place to buy a new winter coat? That's what I want to know.
My wife is a typical English woman. She's got a cupboard under the stairs, which has got many, 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 many lovely winter coats, but I'm sure that another one wouldn't go amiss. Same with my daughters. So the 3 of them share, swap, buy, move on. And, they're typical. They'll wear it twice. It's out of date, so they'll buy a new one. I can't do that. Do you know, I've got a coat that I'm still wearing that's 20 years old.
Oh my.
You're
brush
due
the
for
dust. Yeah, you're due for a new one. We'll go to Burlington and get you
I
one.
never wear it, and that's the problem. I never wear it.
All right. Well, listen, regards to the family, be well. And of course, we always love when you give us an insight on what's happening over in England.
It's always nice to call in and, have a rant and a moan. It gets it off my chest, and I feel happy now.
You can rant with us anytime. We'll put out the virtual couch for you 24/7.
We won't even put you in jail for it.
Yes, exactly.
Much love to Florida and all your listeners.
All right. Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you soon.
Cheers, then.
All right. Bye-bye. Boy, he had a lot to say today.
He always has
He
a
always
lot
does.
to say.
It's always good, though, to hear what's going on over there across the pond.
Yeah, he's always posting something funny on
Yeah,
Facebook, or
definitely so.
something good. Or the harvest pumpkins. I enjoyed seeing those. where he showed pumpkins and pine cones
Mm-hmm.
and the fall colors in England.
Got a few birthdays. Kane Brown, country music artist, is 28 years old today. Amber Rose, Kanye's ex, is 38. Another one of Kanye's exes, Kim Kardashian, is 41 years old today. Wow.
Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, Kimmy Kardashian.
She's probably the most famous one, and
Yep.
her sister Courtney is the one that got engaged.
Isn't Kim the one that's got like the booty?
Oh
She's got,
yeah,
like, that
she's
booty.
always showing the
She's got her booty.
bigger backside.
Yeah, she got the pumpkin back there. Steve Lukather, Toto guitarist, 64 years old today. The Go-Go's guitarist, Charlotte Caffey, is 60. Wow, I can't believe it. 68 years old.
68.
Wow.
The Go-Go's. I
Yeah.
think she's probably the oldest Go-Go then.
Yeah.
Because I think Belinda Carlisle, you mentioned, was in her early 60s.
Yeah. Judge Judy Scheinlin is 79 years old today. Judge Judy.
I love watching Judge Judy.
Her
and
show's amazing.
She's she's straight and to the point.
Yep.
And do you think she's fair all the time though?
I think so.
I think once in a while I'll watch, and there's got to be at least one show where I'll say, Judge Judy,
Yep.
come on, you're being too hard on them. But usually she seems pretty fair.
Manfred Mann, 81 years old today. Do-wa-dee-dee-dee-dum-dee-dee-doo.
Manfred Mann's
Yeah.
Earth Band. What did they also do? Blinded by the Light,
Right?
and which was written by Bruce Springsteen, I believe. They're known for Blinded by the Light.
Yeah, good song there. Celebrating a birthday in the heavens, Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher, passed away in 2016. Celebrating a birthday today. Today is International Day of the Nacho. So go out and get some nachos, Bonnie.
Can you eat a full plate of nachos?
I could right now.
Could you really?
I could pound down an entire plate of nachos right now, but I won't.
Minus the jalapeno or minus the refried beans or anything?
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite topping on the nachos?
I just like my nachos. I like with just cheese, meat, a little bit of lettuce, a little bit of tomato, and a whole lot of sour cream.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about the tomato. I do
Mhm.
like it when they chop those little bitty tomatoes up, or maybe they get them out of a can, the petite diced tomatoes,
Mhm.
right over your super nachos. Oh, it goes for a wonderful dish. And you got to have the sour cream, and you
Mhm.
got to have the guacamole.
Definitely so,
And
without a doubt.
what salsa I love the best
Tell me
is
what you like.
Pueblo Viejo.
Oh, great place to go and eat food. Yeah, definitely so.
That authentic salsa that I asked for extra to bring home.
Mhm.
So I have it in my refrigerator for days to
Mhm.
put on the nachos.
Definitely so. It's also National Back to the Future Day. So throw on your Nikes, pop in a VHS tape, and rev up that DeLorean because it's
Oh,
Back to the
yeah.
Future Day.
And take a ride on the skateboard and,
Yeah.
and hitch a ride.
Mhm.
Oh, you gotta love
It's
that.
also Celebration of the Mind Day. Gear up for a full day of logic learning and fun. It's also Conflict Resolution Day. So today's a great day to resolve a conflict
Yeah.
that you may have.
Part of it might be just getting something done that you put off for a long time. And
Mhm.
when you get it done, there you go. You resolved a conflict in your mind, in your own mind.
It's also Count Your Buttons Day.
Count your buttons
Count
day.
Your Buttons Day.
I'd rather be counting my money day.
Here's an interesting
My
thing.
buttons.
I'm going to do this when I get home, just for giggles. I'm going to go in my closet
Yeah.
and I'm going to go through all my dress shirts that have buttons.
Yeah.
And I'm going to count all the buttons
Oh, what fun.
and have a total. And then I'll give it to you tomorrow.
Can I make a guess?
Sure.
I'll make a guess
You
on
can
how many
guess.
buttons
How many
you can
buttons do you
find.
think I have?
And then what do I win? What's the pot? A couple of dollars,
I'll
maybe
give you a buck.
$5.
I'll give you a buck.
Okay.
I'll give you a buck.
I will count 100 buttons that you'll find.
100?
I would assume that your closet's pretty big with a lot of attire.
Well, the average dress shirt has anywhere from, I want to say, 6 to 8 buttons.
And I think you would be one with a lot of dress shirts.
I
so
own a crap ton of
I'll
dress
say
shirts.
100.
Yeah, you think so?
Hyundai,
All
yeah.
right. All right. A Hyundai?
Yeah.
All right. A hunch. Okay. Very good. It's also International Credit Union Day, along with International Shakeout Day. It's also National Apple Day, along with National Check Your Meds Day. Wow. National Check Your Meds Day. It's National Get Smart About Credit Day. That's where you have to manage your credit.
Yeah.
It's also
yeah. And I'm so excited.
Are you?
Oh man, I just paid a huge bill yesterday.
Okay.
And my credit
Paid it down.
My credit is almost zero that I owe on credit cards.
Very good. Good
Almost.
girl. All right.
I'm
It's
so
also
happy.
it's also National Pets for Veterans Day. I like this one. I'll get to this one last. It's National Reptile Awareness Day, along with National Reptile Day. It's also National Police Commemoration Day, along with National Spirit Day. But this is the one that takes the cake.
Yeah?
No pun intended. It's National Pumpkin Cheesecake Day.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, Bonnie.
Decadence.
Decadence. Pumpkin cheesecake is yet another way to win the American heart.
Have you seen it in stores? I haven't seen any pumpkin cheesecake.
I have not seen pumpkin cheesecake, but dang it,
But
I'm going to find me a pumpkin cheesecake,
I'm sure
and
it's
I'm going to
there.
bring it in for breakfast one morning.
Sounds good, doesn't it?
Even if I have to go to the Cheesecake Factory down in Palm Beach Gardens,
Oh, wow.
I'm going to get some pumpkin cheesecake and bring it
Yeah.
in here.
Just think
All
how
right?
many kinds of cheesecakes that Cheesesteak Factory
Yeah.
sells. How
Mhm.
many different kinds. I'm sure they have the pumpkin one.
Oh, my gosh.
That does sound really good, Evan.
Yeah,
Now I
definitely
want that
so.
with my coffee.
Definitely so. Coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, we have a really special guest that's going to be here in studio. Nancy Smith is going to be here. This lady she's gone from reporter to city editor to managing editor of the Stewart News. She's retired now, and I cannot wait to pick her brain
Yeah.
and listen to all the great stuff
I know.
that
What a
I'm looking at her resume.
nice long resume and history that she
Amazing.
has of many years.
Amazing. She's like a
and
historian.
with the Stewart News. I
Yeah.
mean, it's going to be really an
Mhm.
honor to
Mhm.
meet her
Yep.
when she comes in this morning.
And we're going to talk about this event that's going to be coming up on Thursday, October 28th. It's the Nancy and Michael Smith Endowed Scholarship event happening at Indian River State College, the Chastain campus. So we're going to talk to her about that also as well. But I'm really excited. She's going to be here in studio.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
can't wait for that. It's going to be a great interview. 7:23 right now on the Get Up and Go show with Evan and Bonnie. It's time for news. Let's go right to the news desk. Bonnie standing by with the morning headlines. Good morning, Bonnie.
Good morning to you, Evan. Nicholas Cruz is pleading guilty to all charges in the 2018 shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High in Parkland. Those charges include 17 counts of murder and 17 counts of attempted murder. Some parents and family members of the Parkland school shooting victims said Wednesday they were unmoved by Nicholas Cruz's apology in court and remain in favor of him being sentenced to death. WPTV's Ryan Hughes has more.
Despite that apology in court today, many families that we spoke with had no sympathy for the man they call evil and violent. They say that his statement that he made in court was calculated and useless. As you mentioned, it was a very emotional day as details of the shooting were read aloud minute by minute. And at times, many of these families relying on one another for sympathy and support. Walking out of the courtroom in Broward County hand in hand,
I miss him dearly. He should be here today.
Tom and Gina Hoyer remembering their son Luke on this emotional and difficult day as they take one step closer to justice.
He was my surprise baby. Say, because he was so funny and cute. We would laugh and I go, what would we ever do without him? He wasn't planned. And now I have to live those words.
Luke was only 15, walking back to class from the library when he was shot and killed inside Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School.
It was probably the most uncomfortable thing, second most uncomfortable thing we've ever had to do.
Wednesday morning, parents reliving the pain and torture as their child's killer pleaded guilty to murdering 17 people inside the high school. Tony Montaldo wearing a picture of his daughter, Gina Rose, close to his heart.
There's no moving on. There's moving around the pain that we feel every day. The loss of our daughter affects my wife, myself, and our entire family.
And many of the families who have bonded over tragedy sitting next to one another in court, comforting each other as descriptive details were read aloud of how the massacre was carried out. Now, as the focus in this case shifts to the penalty phase, many grieving parents say they hope the jury chooses the right punishment.
And the person you saw in there today chose to take his life. And he does not deserve life in prison. Life in prison is a life. And he deserves nothing more than the death penalty.
And outside that courtroom, many of those families telling me they plan to spend the rest of today visiting their child, their son, their daughter at the cemetery. They have turned their grief into action, and they say they plan to see this case until the very end. As we mentioned, the next step is now the penalty phase, jury selection, slated to begin after the new year. Live this afternoon in Fort Lauderdale, Ryan Hughes, WPTV, News Channel 5.
The Florida Education Association says there have been about 5,000 teacher vacancies this month. Officials believe that low pay and the stress of COVID-19 are pushing some teachers to retire or resign. A judge on Wednesday pushed for compromise on potential payouts to people who lost loved ones and those whose units were destroyed in the deadly collapse of a Florida beachfront condominium. An initial attempt to mediate a solution over the past 2 weeks encountered hardened positions between the two sides in the aftermath of the June 24 collapse of the Champlain Tower South building in Surf. Killed 98 people. Attorney Bruce Greer, appointed by a judge to mediate the dispute, said at a hearing that many condo owners want all proceeds from a property sale, insurance, and lawsuit damages to go to them. Some of those who lost loved ones insist the condo owners should be assessed to pay for their losses and may be liable for legal damages because long-standing structural problems with the building were never dealt with despite warnings. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said an outbreak of salmonella across 37 states has been linked to onions. According to the CDC, 652 people have been infected and 129 have been hospitalized. The CDC said the onions were sold to restaurants and grocery stores throughout the nation and were imported from Chihuahua, Mexico, and distributed by ProSource Incorporated. ProSource said the onions were last imported on October 27. The CDC said no one has died. In September, the CDC began investigating after a salmonella outbreak was reported in 25 states and infected 27 people. At the time, only 18 had been hospitalized. Lastly, U.S. regulators are extending COVID-19 boosters to Americans who got the Moderna or Johnson & Johnson vaccine. They also said Wednesday anyone eligible for an extra dose can get a brand different from the one they received initially. Those eligible currently include anyone 65 and older, adults at risk of severe COVID-19, and those who live or work in an area that puts them at higher risk of contracting the virus. The Houston Astros had a big 6-run sixth inning on a Kyle Schwarber error to elevate them to a 9-1 victory over the Boston Red Sox in Game 5 of the ALCS. The Astros lead that series now 3-2. They're one game away from the World Series. They're possibly headed home to Houston on Friday to possibly win the ALCS, that is, on Friday. First pitch at 8:08 p.m. And the Atlanta Braves 9-2 over the Dodgers. The series 3-1. Game 5 in LA starts at 8:08 tonight. News time is 7:29. We'll have weather and traffic.
7:29 right now on the Get Up and Go show with Evan and Bonnie. It's time for traffic and weather together. Bonnie, what's going on outside?
Well, on the Turnpike northbound, there's a disabled vehicle with roadblock. This is way up in Fort Pierce. It's the Turnpike northbound at mile marker 152, and the vehicle is blocking the center lane, so there's a little bit of a slowdown in that area due to that, so just kind of use some caution. But if you see something this morning. We're right here at 220-9788, 220-WSTU. Home City now, a clear sky, 77, and in Caldwell, Idaho, it's a partly cloudy, 56. More on the forecast at WPTV.
Your WPTV First Alert forecast calls for temperatures this morning in the mid to upper 70s towards the coast, still seeing some 60s inland under partly cloudy skies. This afternoon, highs in the mid to upper 80s, partly sunny skies, a few showers possible with breezy winds out of the east at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Tomorrow, a little more humid with highs in the mid 80s, some showers towards the coast in the morning, then afternoon showers and storms possible. For the weekend, a front stalls out over the area, scattered showers and storms possible with warm and muggy conditions, highs in the mid 80s.
I'm WPTV First Alert Meteorologist Katya Hall on WSTU AM 1450, Martin County's Heritage Station.
If you have a suggestion for the show, we would love to hear from you. Send us an email to WSTUmorningshow@gmail.com. Now let's get back to the Get Up and Go show. Here's Evan and Bonnie.
7:34 right now on the Get Up and Go show. It's time for our morning visit with the gentleman that heads up the Stewart Martin Chamber of Commerce, Joe Catcherbone. And of course, folks, like I always say each and every week, I highly endorse the chamber as far as where you should go and join up. If you have any kind of a business or any type of business out there and you're looking for exposure, if you're looking for networking, if you're looking for just about anything possible, this is the place that you want to go. It's, small dollars for a lot of return on your money, without a doubt. Joe is on our line right now joining us this morning. Joe, good morning. Top of the morning to you.
Good morning, Evan. Bonnie, how are you?
Good morning. We're doing fine. And how are you, sir?
I'm wonderful. Thank you.
That's good to
Living
hear.
the dream.
What's that?
Living the dream.
Living the dream.
He's
Oh,
living
you
the
are?
dream.
That's amazing.
Joe's
I'm
always living the
glad.
dream. Hey, Joe, I got a quick question for you just out of curiosity. Are you the person that likes to go cruising?
Cruising?
Yeah, do you like to go on cruises with your wife?
Oh, we thought it was cruising for chicks.
No,
Didn't you,
no.
Joe, think that for a moment?
I did both of those in my previous years. No, we haven't. We used to love to cruise. But,
Really?
Certainly with COVID and all that stuff, and we kind of backed away, so we haven't cruised in quite a while.
Well, Joe, for the mere price of $54,899 per person, you can go on a 274-night cruise all around the world and hit every continent.
Wow. When can I book that?
No problem. Just give the cruise line a call and they'll gladly take your reservation.
And that's a long cruise. That's for people really loving the cruise.
Yeah.
Too long, I think.
I'm at a point now where I really don't care to travel anymore. So I'm just stay local and enjoy beautiful Martin County and the Treasure Coast.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's what it's all about.
In fact, I told Evan I might go on a little staycation in a week or two while I'm here, because I'm going to be out of town for a little bit and then half of my vacation right here in town. And we were talking about so many of these great places like out on Hutchinson Island and right in our backyard that we can stay at for a night or two.
Yeah, it's a great place, especially on the beach.
Yeah. Oh, Evan, you talked about that one that's right on
Hutchinson
the beach, right?
Shores.
That's what it's
Hutchinson
called?
Shores. Great place. Joe, you ever been there?
Oh, yes, of course.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we have an event scheduled out there, I believe, in December, a luncheon or something out
Yeah,
there.
it's a great place. Great place. So what's been going on lately at the Chamber? Of course, we have our Morning Joe in about a half hour from now. That's where myself and Bonnie, we get to invade your Zoom call and take it over and have a lot of fun with all your different guests that are in there. So what's been going on in the Chamber as of late?
Well, we had a business after hours last night out at Marks out in Palm City.
Mm-hmm.
We had about 100 or plus people out there. And,
wow.
Ellie's Deli catered it. It was really great.
Mm-hmm.
It was really great to see that many people out having a good time and networking. And of course, they are one of our star members. All of our members are stars, but they were on board Small Business Expansion of the Year. And when you get out there and you see what they've done and their facility, you understand. And they're so professional and they're caring and they're just really great people. So we had a great time out there last night. We had a board meeting yesterday, and one of the most interesting and I think positive reports we got was from Sharon Kinane, who represents Cleveland Clinic. And for the first time in probably 2 years, we had a really positive. And by the way, Sharon, because of her affiliation and employed by Cleveland, has not been able to attend meetings in person. So yesterday she did. It was the first
wow.
meeting in almost 2 years.
Okay.
And gave us a positive report that they are taking into consideration of what we've gone through and where we are, they're as close to normal now as they've been in 2 years. They're doing elective surgeries. They only had, I believe she said last week they had 3 COVID patients. So, that's really positive. And he keeps saying how fortunate we are here. So that's really a great report. They have hired a new CEO for the tradition. Rob Lord is retiring at the end of this year. And so they hired it. They've separated it while Rob is responsible for that hospital too. They've now hired a separate CEO for that hospital. And then they're in the process of interviewing a new president for here in Martin County for the North and South Hospital. So really, a really good positive report from the hospital. And it was a very positive, upbeat meeting. And of course, we had our business after hours last night that I just told you about. Membership is doing wonderful. We started we had a new board yesterday. We have a few new board members. And things are just going really well. So our membership is up. Amy's doing a bang-up job. Staff is doing a great job. Our events are wonderful. We've got our holiday trade show coming up in November.
I know. I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, you're participating in that.
Yeah, I'm going to be there.
Yeah, we'll have about 50 vendors and probably between 253 people will attend.
Wow.
So we're looking forward to that. And we've got a full schedule of events coming up in November. And as a matter of fact, we still have the breakfast left this month at Martin Funeral Home on the 26th. On November 2nd, we've got a breakfast here at the Chamber. November 9th is our Operation Thank You, also a breakfast here at the Chamber. November 10th, we've got a luncheon at Twisted Tuna. November 16th, a breakfast at Flagler Place. November 17th is a business after hours, our holiday trade show we were just speaking about. Even though with a short month with Thanksgiving, we've still got a month chock full of opportunities for people to network.
Wow, you're going full tilt, aren't you?
We are, yes, and I love it. It keeps me really busy.
That's a good thing.
Yeah,
Let's
got
talk a
some
little.
new members.
I was just about to ask you. Let's talk a little bit about the new members. Tell us about your new members.
Please. And so far this month, I've reported already, but so far this month, I think we've got 18 new members this month. This past week or this week so far, we've got Blue Water Realty. Beverly Bray is the broker. They're a real estate broker and associates. Treasure Coast Asphalt Maintenance. Mark Kirk is the CEO there. They are. I don't know how many people use the Triangle, the facility down there. I've got 2 doctors I visit there, and it's a zoo for parking. In fact, they have valet. Well, Treasure Coast Asphalt is now in the process of adding 51 or 52 more spaces to that area. So that's going to be, it's not going to be a total fix, but 51 more spaces is a great, and they'll be fully paved for parking places after that's done. So Treasure Coast Asphalt is doing that. Straticon Construction, Jeff Harding is the CEO. They do commercial contracting and integrative psychology of the Treasure Coast. Dr. Kristen Hicks is the contact there, and the physicians. They do psychotherapy and psychiatry and any type of mental health issues. So another good week. We're looking forward to bringing in more, obviously, and we're looking forward to our events and forging forward.
Now, I understand you have a breakfast you're literally blazing right out the door to as soon as you hang up.
You have the way. Yeah, I won't be at Morning Joe this morning, but
Okay.
Sarah Taylor will host it. And we're at Willoughby this morning. It's
Okay.
8 to 9 breakfast, a community breakfast. So
Okay.
I will be whizzing out of here and running down to Willoughby as soon as I hang up.
All right. So here's what we need to do. We need to get a cardboard cutout of you. So those times that you can't make the Morning Joe, and then you can still be there and people can still look at your smiling face.
That's what a great idea. I'll have to work on that.
Look into that for me if you would, because it's just not the same without you in one of those boxes.
And you're not in that place for a good reason. It's not because you have COVID. It's because, or
Yeah.
people are having COVID. It's because you're busy.
He's busy.
Yeah, I have another commitment.
Yes. All right. That's a gentleman. That's Joe Catcherbone. He heads up the Stuart Martin Chamber of Commerce. He's heading out to a breakfast, and then of course we have the Morning Joe just after 8:00 with the chamber. Hey Joe, always a pleasure. Thank you for everything that you do for the business and for the community. We really
Always my
appreciate it.
pleasure, and thank you to both of you. We appreciate you.
It's
Thanks.
our pleasure.
Good day.
Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye. 7:44. It's news time. Once again, it's all brought to you by St. Lucie Jewelry and Coin for the best deals in town on precious metals. It's always St. Lucie Jewelry and Coin. Bonnie is standing by with the morning headlines. Good morning, Bonnie.
Good morning, Evan. Apparent human remains were discovered Wednesday near a Southwest Florida preserve where items belonging to Gabby Petito's fiance, Brian Laundrie, were found. WPTV's Derek Lowe with the story.
The search for Brian Laundrie has now been ongoing for more than a month. Until today, we have not had a trace of where he might be. It's an area Brian Laundrie's parents say their son frequented often.
Our evidence response team is on scene using all available forensic resources to process the area.
FBI crews continue to search for Brian Laundrie, a person of interest after Gabby Petito's disappearance and killing in Wyoming. Investigators credit a cadaver dog for finding the apparent human remains inside the Myakkahatchee Creek Park in Northport.
Earlier today, investigators found what appears to be human remains, along with personal items such as a backpack and notebook belonging to Brian Laundrie.
A discovery raising even more questions for experts.
That really raises the question that if indeed this is Brian Laundrie and if he died by his own hand, did he take the time to write out a note of explanation, maybe even regret, something that would give answers not only to the police but to Gabby's family?
The area where the items were found was previously under FBI Special Agent Michael McPherson. He says search crews and evidence teams will likely be here for days.
Portions of the Myakkahatchee Creek Environment Park and Carlton Reserve will remain closed to the public until further notice. This is an active and ongoing investigation, so we ask the public to maintain distance from any law enforcement personnel, equipment, vehicles, and other related activity.
And McPherson says that the FBI's Denver office will now take the lead in this investigation. Last month, the coroner ruled that Gabby Petito was strangled. Live in Northport, I'm Derek Lowe, WPTV, News Channel 5.
Florida's governor has called on the Justice Department to stand down as federal officials offer to help with threats made against school workers over masking policies. WPTV's Capitol reporter Forrest Saunders with more.
I'm Forrest Saunders at the Capitol. We don't need your help. Governor Ron DeSantis calling on the Justice Department to stand down. That's as federal officials offer to help with threats made against school board members and others over masking policies.
Florida's governor Wednesday rejecting federal help to police recent threats against superintendents, board members, and others backing COVID safety guidelines.
We don't need federal agents coming in to do this.
DeSantis saying Florida law enforcement can handle it, then labeling the Justice Department's aid as an effort to intimidate parents.
Is to squelch dissent, is to have them shut up and just take it, even when they strongly disagree with what may be happening with their kid.
His comments follow this October 4 memo from U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland. In it, Garland says there's been a disturbing spike in harassment, intimidation, and threats of violence against school workers. He lists a series of efforts to help, including the creation of a task force to aid criminal prosecution. But DeSantis saying the state won't be participating in anything outlined in that memo and bringing along anti-mask parents to back resistance.
Now we're being looked at as domestic terrorists, and I find it utterly disgusting.
Meanwhile, school workers have started opening up about the threats.
I don't reject people coming here and speaking their voice. They do it all the time.
Brevard board member Jennifer Jenkins telling her colleagues about her experiences last week. Jenkins dealing with stalkers, the brandishing of weapons outside her home, even false abuse claims about her daughter.
That I have to take a DCF investigator to her play date to go underneath her clothing and check for burn marks. That's what I'm against, which is a credible threat.
The Justice Department didn't immediately offer a response to the governor's comments, but in the memo promised to act within 30 days, a window quickly disappearing without much outward action to date.
And Governor DeSantis is far from the first to criticize that memo. A lot of Republicans have stacked up against it, including Florida's two senators, Rick Scott and Marco Rubio. That's the latest out here at the Capitol. I'm Forrest Saunders reporting.
A 64-year-old man on a bicycle died last month after being struck by a vehicle on North 25th Street, a police sergeant said Wednesday. The crash happened September 23rd as a pickup southbound on North 25th Street struck the bicyclist about 150 feet north of Avenue D, according to a report in Sergeant Charles Donnan of the Fort Pierce Police. Donnan said it appears the bicycle rider, a Fort Pierce man, wasn't in a crosswalk and was in the southbound travel lane. He said he was at fault. The driver of the pickup, a 47-year-old man from St. Lucie County, stopped, rendered aid, and called 911. Donnan said the bicycle rider died 3 days after the crash. The name of the bicycle rider was not immediately available. Former President Bill Clinton is sending thanks to the doctors who cared for him and those who sent well wishes while he was hospitalized in California. In a video statement, Clinton, age 75, said he is glad to finally be back home in New York. "I'm doing great, enjoying this beautiful fall weather," he said. Clinton received treatment for nearly a week at UC Irvine Medical Center for a reported urological infection. U.S. regulators are extending COVID-19 boosters to Americans who got the Moderna or Johnson & Johnson vaccine. They also said Wednesday anyone eligible for an extra dose can get a brand different from the one they received initially. Those eligible currently include anyone 65 and older, adults at risk of severe COVID-19, and those who live or work in an area that puts them at higher risk of contracting the virus. Well, lastly, a cop in Palm Coast, Florida, pulled a 3-year-old kid from a burning building on Sunday, and his chest cam got it all on video. He found the kid hiding under a blanket. And in other kid-friendly news, a 4-year-old kid in New Zealand recently called the cops because he wanted to show them his cool toys. So a cop swung by his house, confirmed that his toys were very cool, and talk to him about what 911 is for. Gonzaga basketball coach Mark Few has pleaded guilty to misdemeanor driving under the influence in Idaho and must pay a fine of $1,000 in lieu of spending 4 days in jail. He must also perform 24 hours of community service, and his driver's license was suspended until November 5, after which he will be required to use an ignition interlock device while on unsupervised probation for the next year. Few has completed a required alcohol and drug class. News time is at 7:51 with weather and traffic together coming up.
$7:53 right now on the Get Up and Go show with Evan and Bonnie. It's time for traffic and weather together. Bonnie, how's it looking outside?
You might see a little bit of a slowdown, maybe a little bit of a tie-up if you're heading northbound on the Turnpike this morning up in Fort Pierce at mile marker 152. Turnpike northbound, there's a disabled vehicle with some roadblock. That vehicle is blocking the center lane. Here in Martin County, it's looking like a good ride this morning, not seeing any slowdowns or tie-ups right here at the moment. There's your latest look at traffic. It's 77 and a clear sky in Stewart. In Shelburne, Vermont, 52. Here's more on the forecast at WPTV.
Your WPTV First Alert forecast calls for temperatures this morning in the mid to upper 70s towards the coast, still seeing some 60s inland under partly cloudy skies. This afternoon, highs in the mid to upper 80s, partly sunny skies, a few showers possible with breezy winds out of the east at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Tomorrow, a little more humid with highs in the mid 80s, some showers towards the coast in the morning, then afternoon showers and storms possible. For the weekend, a front stalls out over the area, scattered showers and storms possible with warm and muggy conditions, highs in the mid 80s.
I'm WPTV First Alert Meteorologist Katya Hall on WSTU AM 1450, Martin County's Heritage Station.
Coming to you live from Stuart, Florida, the greatest little town in the world. It's the award-winning, critically acclaimed Get Up and Go show on AM 1450 WSTU. You're invited to call the show anytime at 772-220-9788. And now, broadcasting live from their palatial studios, here are your hosts, Evan and Bonnie.
And thank you very much, Mr. Announcer. It's October the 21st, 2021 is what it is.
What's happening today?
Well, we got a lot happening today.
Rise and shine, up and at 'em. It's time to brush the sleepy dust from your eyes.
All right, I'll brush the sleepy dust out of my eyes.
This is your lucky day.
It's always my lucky day, definitely. 8:07 is the time. Mr. Clock, would you certify that?
It's now 8:07 a.m.
8:07 a.m. on the Get Up and Go show, and it's time for our weekly visit on the Morning Joe with the Stuart Martin Chamber of Commerce. And, of course, joining us on our line right now is the lovely and talented events coordinator, Sarah Taylor. She is in our Zoom room all by her lonesome this morning. Hi, Taylor.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, Sarah. What's going on? Look at boy, I love those red glasses. I really do.
You look so pretty and sharp in those glasses. Man,
Thank you.
I feel like I'm almost
love-
looking at my twin this morning.
You know, I feel like I'm talking to Sally Jesse Raphael from the old talk show days.
So what's
Thank you.
happening? What's happening? Where's everybody? at
Where's
the
everybody?
Zoom
I'm
meeting?
really I'm not mad. I'm not angry, but it seems like everybody has boycotted the Zoom room this morning.
We had a lot of RSVPs, but sometimes when you wake up in the morning and you have a choice between rolling over and getting a couple more snoozes, you choose that sometimes.
Wow.
So, but I have my coffee. I'm happy.
I know. And you saw me eating my breakfast on camera too, so I'm all good to
Right.
go. Bonnie's gonna be having hers as soon as she gets out of here, right,
A
Bonnie?
little bit later, yeah. Are you
Mhm.
like one of the newest members at the chamber?
She
Joe's
sure
been
is.
talking about new and shining members.
And she's definitely shining with that smile, without a doubt.
I'm trying.
So tell us
Not a morning person.
tell us a little bit about your position and what you do with the chamber and your involvement with everything.
Yeah. Well, I'm the events coordinator with the chamber. If you're a member, you know that there are so many networking opportunities, breakfast, business after hours, trade shows. And so I help coordinate those and get those together. And so far it's been a blast. I'm learning so much, and I'm really seeing the benefit of being a member to the chamber. So if you're not a member, you really don't know what to expect, but this chamber does so much for its members, and the more you put into it, the more you get back. It's phenomenal. I would recommend it to anybody. We actually had yesterday, it was National Commerce Day for the chamber. So we reached out and we wanted to do it this morning as well, and asked, those that are members, how does the chamber really benefit you? Member, what would be some of the benefits? Tag somebody who's not a member, and maybe they can see how the chamber can work for you and your business.
Now, with National Commerce Day, did you and Joe and members of the chamber receive a lot of flowers? Was it a big flower giving day?
It was a big party in their chambers.
It's always a party here. We had a bunch of goodies, and we're always snacking away. But next year, hopefully, with more time, we'll make a big celebration out of it and have people come by.
All right, so I have a hashtag for you, because we have this hashtag. We use it at our church at Christ Fellowship. So we use hashtag party in PSL. So now your hashtag is going to be hashtag party at the chamber.
I love it.
Make sure and tell Joe where that came from, Bonnie and myself. Okay.
I will. I can use that. Can I use that?
Yes, please
Yeah?
do. Use it in all your things on social media, and hashtag party at the chamber.
I'm gonna do it.
All right.
I'm gonna see.
I love it. She's writing it down.
Yeah.
She's literally writing it down.
writing
I love
down an
it.
idea.
I love it. Right on her phone.
Now, as like an events coordinator at the chamber, how was it like stepping into that? And I think Joe told us a sort of something that you used to be a coordinator of other kind of events. So has this been kind of new to you too?
Definitely. Yeah. I did events and marketing for mostly art galleries. I
Wow,
came from Atlanta,
fascinating.
so this is a completely different transition and I love it. It's
Challenging, but I bet like you are learning a lot, and it sounds like you're
yes.
catching on very fast.
I hope I am. There's never a dull moment. There's always something fun going on. So, and all the members are so sweet.
Mhm.
Everybody's so sweet and patient. So I'm having a blast.
I can't
Yeah.
wait to meet you face to face next month at the gala event that I'm gonna actually be partaking
Oh
in.
yeah, you're going to that,
Yeah,
aren't you,
I'm gonna
Evan?
have a booth set up there,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna have my photo booth there. So we have to get you and some of the people from the chamber to go into the photo booth and get your guys' picture in there.
Oh, we would love that.
Mm-hmm.
We would love that. All right. I'm keeping my eye out for you.
All right, I got you. I got you. That's right. It's going to be a great day. So, talk to us about some events that are going to be coming up as far as that goes. Let our listeners know. Joe touched on them earlier today. I figured let's reiterate those again if we could.
Yeah, definitely. So November 18th, we have a holiday trade show
Mm-hmm.
at St. Mary's. It is open to everyone. If you go on to stuartmartinchamber.org, you'll be able to find some forms if you want to get a table. It's open to members and non-members, as well as sponsors, and you'll be able to exhibit your business and really be able to network business to business and with the public. January 8th, we have an amazing health expo that I'm really excited about. It's going to be at the Flagler Center. And right before we get it kicked off, we're going to have a 5K at Flagler Park.
Oh, wow.
The morning of at 7 a.m. Yeah, it's just going to be a blast. It's right on the water. It's going to be hopefully nice and cool by then, because that's how Florida is.
Yeah, I've done one of those 5K runs down here on the waterfront before. And when you know get out to that waterfront, it's just so excellent of a run, and then you get a nice breeze. And what date is that 5K going to be?
It's going to be Saturday, January 8th.
Okay,
2022.
2022. So you're filling up your calendar very early then, even into next year. We love these events going on. And we're going to tell us more about what's to do with that 5K?
Yes, so we're the flyer and the website are getting made at the moment. And then once they're up and ready, the public, everybody is invited, and they can go on and they can register for the run. The run's going to be half hour to an hour. And then once the runners are done and the public wants to come in at the Flagler Center, we have, much like other trade shows, we're going to have businesses in with tables, mostly centered around health and wellness. There's going to be food, there's going to be businesses. It's just really going to be a great experience. Last year it was at the Treasure Coast Mall.
Mm-hmm.
And this time it's really you're going to feel the environment of what we're aiming for, that health and wellness, really getting out to the public what you need to do for your emotional, mental, and physical well-being to have a great year.
I wonder if Dr. Tread's going to be there from the Slim Body Laser Spa.
He might be.
Yeah,
right?
because it's a health and wellness event. So we'll have to find out from him.
He's cool. He just attends so many of his events.
Yeah.
And then when I don't see him there, I see his wife.
Yeah.
And she's always telling you about the health and wellness too.
Yeah.
They're really good at it.
Yeah, definitely. So
yeah.
So I understand you guys have had a boat ton of new business come in over the last week. Joe was telling us that's good, right?
It's always good. Stuart it's getting big, and not in a bad way. We're really excited about it. So yeah, we have some businesses coming to the area, and Amy, our sales rep, is on it.
I love it. I love it.
We are always hearing about, we call her like Awesome Amy.
I know,
over
right?
Here.
Joe's always talking and raving about Awesome Amy all
Yeah.
the time. Is she going to be retiring or something like that in the near future? Or Or
I
was
don't
it somebody
so.
else? Maybe it's somebody else he mentioned.
Might have been another lady.
Yeah,
that
another
was,
lady or something like that.
But he said she's retiring at home and helping out her better half with
Yes.
their business or some sort of thing.
Yes, our dear Cindy. Yes,
Cindy,
she's
that's
retired.
who it was. Yes, it was Cindy.
Yeah, so she's retiring. We're gonna miss her so much. We have just
Aw.
took her out for lunch. But we have Angela. She's training Angela
Uh-huh.
to take over her place. So yeah.
All right,
Really
very
great.
good. Very, very good. Well, always a pleasure to have you on. I'll let you sit here and just kind of hang out and hope and pray that you get a couple of people in there for Morning Joe.
We'll see more
I
Zoomers next month.
I feel bad that nobody's in here with you but just us this morning. Usually there's like, I'm sorry, say it again.
I have my coffee. I'm good.
All right.
And like a trooper, you stayed here to cover it. You didn't let Joe down.
Look what
you
we
know?
have here. Pods of coffee. Look at that.
One's Panera Bread.
We got a Panera, a McCafe, and what's this other
Like
one?
a
Oh, it's Cinnabon.
Cinnabon, yeah.
Cinnabon. See
Yeah.
that one? I'll hold it up to the camera
Nice
for you.
and
There
cinnamon.
you go.
Nice.
I got my wife a new Keurig, and it came with like 60 of these K-cups inside. So I was teasing her. I wouldn't tell her what I got her for our anniversary, and Bonnie knew all along what it was.
Yeah.
So I said, "Well, I
kept
got
the
you."
secret.
I said, "I got you something that has 60 attachments," and she's like, "60 attachments? What are you talking about?"
You can imagine.
So it was 60 of these things came in the box.
Oh, you're a good husband.
And she was nice enough to send some over
Yeah, she
too.
sent a
Nice
few over
little
for
package,
Bonnie.
so I can try some in my Keurig.
Yeah, definitely so.
Nice.
Well, listen, you have a marvelous day. It's always a pleasure talking with you. I look forward to meeting you in a few short weeks over at St. Mary's Episcopal Church. I'll be there early to set up. Come over and say hi with your little your red glasses on, and the beautiful smile that you have is that you're always gleaming. How could people ever say no to this young lady?
Yeah,
she's
how
just
could they?
so it's like the radiance,
A ray of sunshine.
honestly.
Mhm.
It could be like a storm outside, and she walks through the door, and all of a sudden the sun lights up.
Right.
She does. She has such a vibrance about her. She really does. But anyway, thank you so much for joining us on Zoom this morning. We really appreciate it.
Good to see you guys.
All right, you take care.
Okay.
All right, bye-bye now. It's time for the Precious Metals Report, and it's all brought to you this morning by St. Lucie Jewelry and Coin. In a moment, we'll let you know what gold is going to be opening up at. It's $1,781.30 an ounce. Silver opening up $24.11 an ounce. That's the Precious Metals Report, and it's all brought to you by St. Lucie Jewelry and Coin. $8:20 right now on the Get Up and Go show. It's time for news. So without further ado, I'm going to head over right to the news desk. Bonnie is standing by with the morning headlines. Good morning, Bonnie.
Good morning, Evan. Some parents and family members of the Parkland school shooting victims said Wednesday they were unmoved by Nicholas Cruz's apology in court and remain in favor of him being sentenced to death. Here's WPTV's Ryan Hughes with more.
Despite that apology in court today, many families that we spoke with had no sympathy for the man they call evil and violent. They say that his statement that he made in court was calculated and useless. As you mentioned, it was a very emotional day as details of the shooting were read aloud minute by minute. And at times, many of these families relying on one another for sympathy and support. Walking out of the courtroom in Broward County hand in hand,
I miss him dearly. He should be here today.
Tom and Gina Hoyer remembering their son Luke on this emotional and difficult day as they take one step closer to justice.
He was my surprise baby. And I always used to say, because he was so funny and cute, we would laugh. And I go, what would we ever do without him? He wasn't planned. And now I have to live those words.
Luke was only 15, walking back to class from the library when he was shot and killed inside Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School.
It was probably the most uncomfortable thing, second most uncomfortable thing we've ever had to do.
Wednesday morning, parents reliving the pain and torture as their child's killer pleaded guilty to murdering 17 people inside the high school. Tony Montaldo wearing a picture of his daughter, Gina Rose, close to his heart.
Moving around, the pain that we feel every day. The loss of our daughter affects my wife, myself, and our son, and our entire family.
And many of the families who have bonded over tragedy sitting next to one another in court, comforting each other as descriptive details were read aloud of how the massacre was carried out. Now, as the focus in this case shifts to the penalty phase, many grieving parents say they hope the jury chooses the right punishment.
And the person you saw in there today chose to take his life, and he does not deserve life in prison. Life in prison is a life, and he deserves nothing more than the death penalty.
And outside that courtroom, many of those families telling me they plan to spend the rest of today visiting their child, their son, their daughter at the cemetery. They have turned their grief into action, and they say they plan to see this case until the very end. As we mentioned, the next step is now the penalty phase, jury selection, slated to begin after the new year. Live this afternoon in Fort Lauderdale, Ryan Hughes, WPTV, News Channel 5.
The FBI says the search for Brian Laundrie, the missing fiance of the late Gabby Petito, has turned up human remains in a nature park in Sarasota County. Special Agent Michael McPherson says they'll be investigating the area for the next several days.
Our evidence response team is on scene using all available forensic resources to process the area.
Laundrie is the sole person of interest in the murder of Gabby Petito, whose body was found in Wyoming just over a month ago. The Education Association says there have been about 5,000 teacher vacancies this month. Officials believe that low pay and the stress of COVID-19 are pushing some teachers to retire or to resign. A judge on Wednesday passed for compromise on potential payouts to people who lost loved ones and those whose units were destroyed in the deadly collapse of a Florida beachfront condominium. An initial attempt to mediate a solution over the past 2 weeks encountered hardened positions between the two sides in the aftermath of the June 24 collapse of the Champlain Tower South Building in Surfside, Florida, that killed 98 people. Attorney Bruce Freer, appointed by a judge to mediate the dispute, said at a hearing that many condo owners want all proceeds from a property sale, insurance, and lawsuit damages to go to them. Some of those who lost loved ones insist the condo owners should be assessed to pay for their losses and may be liable for legal damages because longstanding structural problems with the building were never dealt with despite warnings. And lastly, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said an outbreak of salmonella across 37 states has been linked to onions. According to the CDC, 652 people have been infected and 129 have been hospitalized. The CDC said the onions were sold to restaurants and grocery stores throughout the nation and were imported from Chihuahua, Mexico, and distributed by ProSource Incorporated. ProSource said the onions were last imported on August 27. The CDC said no one has died. Florida coach Dan Mullen wouldn't commit to naming a starting quarterback for his team's October 30 game against number 1 Georgia. Emory Jones started at quarterback during last Saturday's 49-42 loss at LSU, but did not play down the stretch as Anthony Richardson left the offense on 4 straight touchdown drives in the second half. We're really fortunate we have 2 good quarterbacks here, Mullen said on Wednesday. He pointed out how when both quarterbacks have been healthy, both have played during games. News Time 8:26, we'll hear weather and traffic together next.
8:27 right now on the Get Up and Go show with Evan and Bonnie. It's time for traffic and weather together. What's going on outside, Bonnie?
Well, Evan, we're bringing up the latest highway report now here from FHP. We are still seeing to the north of us on the turnpike up in Fort Pierce. There is a disabled vehicle causing some roadblock. The vehicle is blocking the center lane. Northbound turnpike, mile marker 152 is where this is at. If you see something, say something. Just let us know at 220-9788, 220-WSTU. And right now in Stewart, we have 78 degrees. And it is 76 in Port St. Lucie. Here's more on the forecast at WPTV.
Your WPTV First Alert forecast calls for temperatures this morning in the mid to upper 70s towards the coast, still seeing some 60s inland under partly cloudy skies. This afternoon, highs in the mid to upper 80s, partly sunny skies, a few showers possible with breezy winds out of the east at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Tomorrow, a little more humid with highs in the mid 80s. Some showers towards the coast in the morning, then afternoon showers and storms possible. For the weekend, a front stalls out over the area. Scattered showers and storms possible with warm and muggy conditions, highs in the mid-80s.
I'm WPTV First Alert Meteorologist Katya Hall on WSTU AM 1450, Martin County's Heritage Station.
If you have a suggestion for the show, we would love to hear from you. Send us an email to WSTUmorningshow@gmail.com. Now let's get back to the Get Up and Go show. Here's Evan and Bonnie.
8:31 on the Get Up and Go show with Evan and Bonnie. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and space cadets, we head to outer space where the one and only Captain Randy Siegel is standing by with the morning space report for today. Good morning, Captain.
Good morning, First Mate.
Thank you.
Well, yesterday, in 2008, India launched its Chandrayaan-1 spacecraft. It was the first Indian lunar probe under that Chandrayaan marker, and it was successful in striking the moon and learning a whole lot about it for India. Yesterday was a very big day at the International Space Station because yesterday the unmanned Progress 78 capsule undocked from the International Space Station's Poisek module at 7:42 p.m. and then redocked with the station at 12:23 a.m. and then in the new science module Nukia. The idea was that the Russians wanted to free up a docking port and to have the Progress vehicle into a new position, allowing the astronauts on board to unload that vehicle from the space station. That vehicle will later be used to carry trash out into space and then re-enter the Earth's atmosphere, where it will burn up before it reaches the Earth. Russia also tested on its last space flight the ability to use one astronaut to control their Soyuz spacecraft. Yep, it's the first time they've done that. And they wanted to show that having a commander only would allow them to have two tourists or two non-professionals fly into space. And they were successful in doing so. This again shows that Russia is ready to do a whole lot of different things in space. Russia also is getting ready to launch a new module to the International Space Station using the Progress MUM transport cargo vehicle. They want to put this new module in there, allowing them to have more docking positions on board the space station so they can have multiple payloads go there at one time. We have to report a failure that took place just a few hours ago when the South Korean government launched their Neri space rocket carrying a dummy satellite towards space. The launch took place at 4 a.m. this morning, intending to place this dummy satellite into a north-south orbit. However, for some reason, the vehicle did not have enough thrust or reach the altitude they needed, and as a result, burned up as it came back to Earth. It's a setback for South Korea that has been trying to launch satellites into space. They have spent nearly 12 years and $1.7 billion developing their domestic satellite launch capabilities. However, this was a major setback. Speaking about setbacks, Russia has failed to launch a spy satellite into orbit. The satellite Cosmos 2551 did not make it into orbit properly. As they intended to move it from one location to another, it fell back to Earth and burned up. And as it was falling back to Earth and burning up, they were able to find that the satellite was a total failure. Speaking about failures, the Boeing Starliner orbital test flight will not fly until sometime in the first half of next year. It appears that humidity may have caused valves to stick, and having these valves stick did not allow the proper flow of oxygen. The spacecraft's oxidizer valves failed to open during a test on August the 3rd, just hours prior to its scheduled launch. Boeing and NASA have been working diligently in order to figure out exactly the root cause of the problem and how best to correct it so that when they do fly, they will have no problem. The whole idea is to have the Starliner back up or be a second launch vehicle to SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket and Dragon spacecraft. Hopefully they can iron that out. Lastly, we want to tell you that Rocket Labs plans to recover their rockets by using a helicopter, catching it, and then being able to reuse it later on. Tomorrow we'll tell you about Congress and China and testing a nuclear hypersonic rocket. So until tomorrow, have a great day, everybody.
That's Captain Randy Siegel with the Space Report. He's on the program each and every weekday at this time, joining us on the air. And speaking about joining us on the air, Bonnie, our next guest has been a staple in Martin County, and she just recently returned to Martin County. Let me kind of read some of the accolades. There's so many great accolades. I wish I had an entire hour to speak to this lady.
You need one to do so.
Wow,
There's
her resume is impeccable. It's unbelievable. It talks about her path from reporter to city editor to managing editor of the Stuart News. In 77, she was hired as a reporter and a weekend Wired editor at the Stuart News. In 79, promoted to the city editor of the Stuart News. In 88, promoted to the managing editor of the Stuart News. And that's like the creme de la creme right there. In 99, she moved to the associated editor position of the Stuart News. And in 2005, she officially retired from the Stuart News and moved with her husband to Ocean Springs, Mississippi. 2 months later, unfortunately, Hurricane Katrina struck, clobbered their home, knocked it down, and they opted to stay and be part of the Gulf Coast rebuilding effort. And then as recently, she moved back here in 2019 and literally resides right across the street from our studio.
Walking distance.
And she walked right over here.
That's
joining us.
Why you look so radiant.
Oh my gosh, joining us
gets
is
out of
Nancy
the fresh air.
Smith. Nancy, it's such an honor and a pleasure to have you sitting here with us.
Well, thank you. It's really an honor to be asked.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
We are just so honored to have you here.
Honored. We really are.
You know, it's just amazing the work that you have done. And in the Stuart, I brought the Stuart News in for you this morning, by the way.
Good, because I don't take it.
I thought we could take a read together.
Yes.
Now you get that every morning delivered to you, right?
Yeah, right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, it's nice to hold a newspaper in your hand. I like to do that rather than read it online. So that's great.
And you know, the times, Nancy, have really changed from when you were in charge compared to now. It's drastically changed, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. Of course it has.
What are your thoughts on the way things have changed from when you were affiliated with the newspaper opposed to now? I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Well, I really think that what changed it is the internet more than anything, and TV, you know, which had 24/7 news, and it changed. Everything changed, particularly to be able to get advertising and run as we were doing. We had our run of things. You know, when I first came to town, they had the papers competing here, where the Miami Herald was here competing.
I remember that.
Yeah, and we had the Palm Beach Post and the Fort Pierce Tribune and ourselves, and it was a dogfight. It was fun. I mean, that was the fun thing.
Get the boxing gloves on, right?
And we were kind of the last man standing in town, and we were at one point. I swear to God, this is the truth. We had a book section larger than the New York Times.
Really?
And our religion section was larger than any. I mean, we just had we had a huge amount of a huge paper because of the advertising was so enormous. You know, with no TV station in town, we cornered the market on the advertising, and that was spoiled us rotten. So. I could see it starting to go downhill, you know, probably at the turn of the century more than anything. And I could see it happening, but I didn't believe it because we just built a new building. We built a new, you know, a new print building in Port St. Lucie.
What was the circulation back then when you were involved? Do you recall?
The circulation just in Stuart was over 50,000.
Wow. That's a lot.
Just in Stuart. And all told, it was pretty close to 100,000.
Oh, that's a lot for the time, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What got you like started in journalism? Was there like a major story or something when you were like a young girl to make you want to get this all started?
No, I can honestly tell you what it was. Is I always like to write, but I think that I didn't want to be a teacher, and I didn't want to be a nurse, and I didn't want to be a secretary.
Right.
And I could either go into the military or do something else. And that's this kind of, I just didn't want to do the usual girly things that were done. And this was open to me. It was a very different time.
Yeah.
When segregation was still in.
Yeah.
Times were very different.
Yeah.
Did you like work some long hours during the early days? Like, what was a normal
God,
day
yes.
for you like?
Yes.
And did you have time?
Yeah, take
for
us through
family?
like a daily day. Take us
When
through
I
a work
left here,
day.
I left my blood on the newsroom floor. I think I was for a morning paper. I mean, I would get in at the crack of dawn, and we would have meetings, and get the paper ready.
Yeah.
And every department decide, what we were gonna do that day. And through the day, part of my job was, trying to make sure they had all the materials they need to research for their stories. And we had a staff. It started out, we had a staff of about 6 reporters. And then by the time I left, we had probably 22 reporters. So it had really grown a lot.
Did all the stories have to come across your desk before going to print? How did that process work?
No, they did not. Although we had a meeting in the afternoon to make sure they were all in.
Right.
But the city editor is the one that does that.
Right.
They're the ones that are the traffic cop for the stories. The managing editor kind of handles all the departments in the newspaper and makes sure, sports and features and the various departments.
Bonnie's a one-woman show here because she's in charge of she's in charge of the news. She's in charge of the sports.
I'm not a huge writer like you
Yeah.
are. I mean, I like to deliver the news.
Right.
Sometimes I get lazy about the writing, which that's why I really respect
Well, that's
you.
okay. You can do it in sound bites, and that's important. It's important to, to know your audience and the time you have to do it all in. And you've got a big mission. It's not easy.
Nancy, do you ever feel like with the internet being out there today, do you just get this feeling that people can print and give out news and information way too quickly without taking the time out for the thought of it, of what goes in? Do you think things might be published and getting out there too fast nowadays?
Well, yeah, but you have to understand that there's a difference between mainstream media and bloggers and people who are basically glorified Facebook posters, and they go on the line.
Right?
And you hope that people have the intelligence to know the difference.
Yeah.
I have no faith, however, in today's mainstream media at all. Zero.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't feel, and maybe because I'm a conservative, and I don't see anything at all online for us, and so it's really good that, that we get all points of view, but I'd like to have ours in there once in a while.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen, and it does not happen at the Stewart News anymore.
I want to touch on 2 more things before we get into our news segment. One of them, it's a lot of fun that your husband used to do. You had this big float in the Christmas parades at Stewart, Fort Pierce, Port St. Lucie. And Santa Claus was in the big red chair, and that was your husband.
It was,
right?
A couple times it was. Sometimes we hired somebody, but mostly it was him, and he did the whole parade. He did the float. He carved all those reindeer.
I heard that he built that whole float.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing.
A designer too.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a craftsman, and he did that. He put
that was cool.
Our fair booths together, and
Yeah.
he made the raft for the Port St. Lucie raft race, and he did, which we won over and over.
Yay.
We beat the Budweiser racing team.
You're like second to none. That's it. It's first place or nothing.
I'm
That's
sorry,
it.
but we are.
You went for the jugular, didn't you?
Well, he was a really neat guy, and he was. I married him in England and brought him over with his family, his kids. He had 7 kids, and we all came back here.
Wow.
But he worked for Margaret Thatcher when she was Minister of Education.
Margaret Thatcher?
Yeah,
That's huge.
Yeah, he was a the headmaster of a large school in Finchley, which is a suburb of London. And he turned his back on all that and came over, back here.
Wow.
And so we had a whole new start here.
Amazing.
He never looked back. He
Where
got
is the
along
float
well.
today?
You know what? I'm not sure.
It's got to be somewhere.
I hope they still use it.
It's got to be somewhere.
I think it's in somebody's barn over in Fort Pierce.
But do
like
you
they're
think
storing
they
that
use
thing.
it for the Christmas parade, though? Do they still use it? 'Cause I don't know.
I don't know. I'm going to
I'm
have to
really
look
not
into
sure.
that. I'm going to have to look into that. I
But
really am.
I think the parade, they'd have parades here in Stewart
Yeah.
and
I'm
way
gonna
up in
watch
Fort
for it
Pierce
and see
too,
if
right?
Yeah.
I think he'd travel throughout the Treasure
Oh
Coast
yeah,
in these
he
different
did.
ones.
He would go. He really loved the one in Hope Sound. He
Yeah.
liked it when it was down
Wow.
there. So that float traveled everywhere.
Right down Bridge Road
Yeah,
that used to
it
float.
did.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
even I think they took it to Jupiter too.
Wow. You and your husband were recently bestowed a wonderful honor through Indian River State College at the Chastain campus. It's going to be happening on Thursday, October 28th from 5 to 7. It's Nancy and Michael Smith Endowed Scholarship. Boy, that's an honor, isn't it?
Honestly, this is the greatest honor of my life.
Mhm.
I can tell you that. I was absolutely bowled over when they told me they were doing this,
Mhm.
and it's a wonderful thing. And
Yeah.
I don't think I deserve all this, but
We think you do.
It's
You're
really
just-
great.
Well, we think you do deserve
do.
because
Thank you.
a lot of people know who you are. You're a piece of history. You're a part of history here in Martin County, especially in the Stewart area, through the Stewart News and all the dedication
Yeah.
and all the work
You're
and the
the
years.
trailblazer.
You are.
for
You
us.
truly are a trailblazer. I mean, we're honored. Honestly, Bonnie and I are both honored to have you in here, and
I was
it-
even a little nervous
Yeah,
this morning
so was
about
I.
you coming in.
So was
Really?
I.
Yeah,
Yeah,
literally,
honestly,
because we're meeting.
because
Oh, good Lord.
Carol sent all this information over to us, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to make sure that we nail this interview. And we never met you before, and we didn't really know anything except for what we read in I can't even say print, in computer, because
Really?
because it's all in the computer. But gosh, thank you so much for coming over here. I mean, we have an open
Well, thank
door,
you very
and
much.
you're always welcome to come and hang out with us
Since you're
anytime.
so close by,
Yeah.
I
too.
know. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to mention all the wonderful people who have been part of my life, but that would take forever. So
Well, we would love to, if you would like to come back, we would love to have you back in the near future, and we can have another conversation, and we'll have some more time and spend with you and talk about your illustrious career in journalism. I would love to.
Maybe I'll even
dig
have some
deep.
coffee ready.
Yeah, definitely so.
I don't know about illustrious, infamous for sure. Because
Well, thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you
in
very
here.
much.
Oh, it's our
for having
pleasure.
me.
It really
I
is.
really
It's
appreciate
our
it.
pleasure,
I had
definitely.
fun.
So, time now is 8:49, and it's time for news, and we're going to get right to it. Bonnie is standing by with the morning headlines. Good morning, Bonnie.
Good morning, Evan. Apparent human remains were discovered Wednesday near a Southwest Florida preserve where items belonging to Gabby Petito's fiance, Brian Laundrie, were found. WPTV's Derek Lowe with the story.
The search for Brian Laundrie has now been ongoing for more than a month. Until today, we have not had a trace of where he might be. It's an area Brian Laundrie's parents say their son frequented often.
Our evidence response team is on scene using all available forensic resources to process the area.
FBI crews continue to search for Brian Laundrie, a person of interest after Gabby Petito's disappearance and killing in Wyoming. Investigators credit a cadaver dog for finding the apparent human remains inside the Myakkahatchee Creek Park in Northport.
Earlier today, investigators found what appears to be human remains, along with personal items, such as a backpack and notebook belonging to Brian Laundrie.
A discovery raising even more questions for experts.
That really raises the question that if indeed this is Brian Laundrie, and if he died by his own hand, did he take the time to write out a note of explanation, maybe even regret, something that would give answers not only to the police but to Gabby's family?
The area where the items were found was previously underwater, according to FBI Special Agent Michael McPherson. He says search crews and evidence teams will likely be here for days.
Portions of the Myakkahatchee Creek Environment Park and Carlton Reserve will remain closed to the public until further notice. This is an active and ongoing investigation, so we ask the public to maintain distance from any law enforcement personnel, equipment, vehicles, and other related activity.
And McPherson says that the FBI's Denver office will now take the lead in this investigation. Last month, the coroner ruled that Gabby Petito was strangled. Live in Northport, I'm Derek Lowe, WPTV News Channel 5.
Florida's governor has called on the Justice Department to stand down as federal officials offer to help with threats made against school workers over masking policies. WPTV's Capitol reporter Forrest Saunders with more.
I'm Forrest Saunders at the Capitol. We don't need your help. Governor Ron DeSantis calling on the Justice Department to stand down. That's as federal officials offer to help with threats made against school board members and others over masking policies.
Florida's governor Wednesday rejecting federal help to police recent threats against superintendents, board members, and others backing COVID safety guidelines.
We don't need federal agents coming in to do this.
DeSantis saying Florida law enforcement can handle it, then labeling the Justice Department's aid as an effort to intimidate parents.
Is to squelch dissent, is to have them shut up and just take it, even when they strongly disagree with what may be happening with their kid.
His comments follow this October 4 memo from U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland. In it, Garland says there's been a disturbing spike in harassment, intimidation, and threats of violence against school workers. He lists a series of efforts to help, including the creation of a task force to aid criminal prosecution. But DeSantis saying the state won't be participating in anything outlined in that memo and bringing along anti-mask parents to back resistance.
Now we're being looked at as domestic terrorists, and I find it utterly disgusting.
Meanwhile, school workers who started opening up about the threats.
I don't reject people coming here and speaking their voice. They do it all the time.
Brevard board member Jennifer Jenkins telling her colleagues about her experiences last week. Jenkins dealing with stalkers, the brandishing of weapons outside her home, even false abuse claims about her daughter.
That I have to take a DCF investigator to her play date to go underneath her clothing and check for burn marks. That's what I'm against, which is a credible threat.
The Justice Department didn't immediately offer a response to the governor's comments, but in the memo promised to act within 30 days, a window quickly disappearing without much outward action to date.
And Governor DeSantis is far from the first to criticize that memo. A lot of Republicans have stacked up against it, including Florida's two senators, Rick Scott and Marco Rubio. That's the latest out here at the Capitol. I'm Forrest Saunders reporting.
And lastly, Travis Tritt has canceled shows at venues requiring mass proof of COVID-19 vaccinations or a negative test. The country singer and songwriter announced the move Monday, which triggered the cancellation of 4 upcoming shows. I'm putting my money where my mouth is and announcing that any venue or promoter mandating mass, requiring vaccinations, or pushing COVID testing protocols on my fans will not be tolerated. Tritt had said this in a written statement. The Houston Astros, they win last night over the Boston Red Sox by a large margin, too, 9-1. And the Astros lead that series 3-2. They're 1 game away from the World Series now. The Atlanta Braves, they won 9-2 over the Dodgers. And the Braves now lead their series 3-1. Game 5 in LA starting tonight at 8:08. News time 8:55. We'll have weather and traffic together next.
8:56 right now on the Get Up and Go show. It's time for traffic and weather together one final time. Bonnie, how's it looking outside?
Well, Evan, here in Martin County, it's looking like a nice ride. Major highways right up to speed right now. All is well on the highways. There's your latest look at traffic. You're up to 80 in Stewart, also 80 Jensen Beach. More on the forecast at WPTV.
Your WPTV First Alert forecast calls for temperatures this morning in the mid to upper 70s towards the coast, still seeing some 60s inland under partly cloudy skies. This afternoon, highs in the mid to upper 80s, partly sunny skies, a few showers possible with breezy winds out of the east at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Tomorrow, a little more humid with highs in the mid 80s. Some showers towards the coast in the morning, then afternoon showers and storms possible. For the weekend, a front stalls out over the area. Scattered showers and storms possible with warm and muggy conditions, highs in the mid-80s.
I'm WPTV First Alert Meteorologist Katya Hall on WSTU AM 1450, Martin County's Heritage Station.
Well, they say the old clock on the wall says that's about all, Bonnie, and we're out of here.
Yeah, it just seems like a minute ago we were here at 6.
Flew by.
It did.
Man. Hey, listen, if you
Yeah.
have good values on the inside, you won't look for validation on the outside.
Yeah, we'll catch you tomorrow morning and with some exciting stuff for the weekend.
Bright
we'll
and early, 21 hours away, folks, right here at WSTU Stewart, Martin County's Heritage Station. The news is coming up next. Bonnie, you have a wonderful day.
And you too, Evan.
I sure
you
will.
too, Mr.
I
Nine.
sure will, Miss Ashley. See you later.